Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bitcoin Birthday Show. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here on the DYOR Media Network. I've got Pedro Garcia in the house. Pedro, woo woo, what's happening?
Whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, guys, what's up? How's everybody doing today? Bitcoin's birthday, 15 years old. It is now almost an adult. Holy crap, it can buy cigarettes and actually can't drink here in America.
Can't, not yet.
But,
not yet. Certain countries, maybe. But
here in America, you can't do it. But in many other countries around the world, you can smoke and drink. So there you go.
It's Bitcoin's 15th birthday, ladies and gentlemen. And while Pedro and I get, while I get a little social media out to say that we are started on the air, Pedro, why don't you welcome everyone to the show?
Absolutely, guys. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. We have a pretty great show here coming up. And I also want to say, if you can, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and tell us where you are coming from and if you don't want to say that, tell us where you want to be. And whether that's on a beach in San Diego or, let's say, hiking up or skiing off of the Alps in Switzerland, wherever it would be, let us know what your dream place would be. Also, if you can, hit that little heart button, those 100 buttons up there. That actually helps with the algorithm while we are actually online. That actually sends out, that lets the algorithm know, oh, wait, people really like this. Here, boom. We've had people, actually, and it's been really appreciative. I don't know who sits there and hits the little button there, but I appreciate that. So by you guys hitting those little buttons right there, that does send out immediate feedback to the algorithm that gets our name out there. And so we are slowly growing, and our goal here is by the end of the year to hit at least a 10,000 to 50,000 watched view. So that's our goal. All right, guys,
that would be good. That would be good. But ladies and gentlemen, Pedro, thank you very much for that intro and psyching everybody up for this awesome show. And this awesome show is about January 3rd, 2009, and what happened in that day. Well, my camera's freezing a little bit. Great. I love when it does that. Bitcoin was born. Did I pay attention to it back then? No. Please, I'm not up here saying I'm one of the guys, blah, blah, blah. Chuck says I'm the button jammer. Good, I'm a button jammer too. the heart button and the like button, that kind of. If you're in the mafia, pushing a button is one thing. If you're in another thing, it's another thing. So we're not going to talk about that.
How about them Dodgers, right?
Right. Those aren't two pillows. But as I said in the body of the messages for this, January 3rd, 2009, the first block, the Genesis block of Bitcoin was mined. And what did Mr. Nakamoto say? He put some text in the block, said the Times, the London Times, the Times, January 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. How apropos. I think he was looking for a certain day to actually launch it once he released the white paper in November of 2008. And the day that the Times printed something about another bank bailout, he released it, or he or she or it or whomever, we'll just go with the word he because it's easy for me to say, released that to show that was the date and that was the news of the day in which he tried to start a system that would override the current banking system, or at least provide some competition to it, and cause the banking system to compete and get more efficient and not be so, we'll just use the word crazy. Anyways, 15 years ago, if you can believe it, I first heard about Bitcoin in 2018. No, I'm sorry, 2013. I famously tell the story of my son telling me that I should buy it. I did not buy it. I did not. Told my son, oh, we can't do that. That's too risky. It would be worth millions now, of course. And then, of course, I didn't really pay attention to it that much other than reading about it on Ars Technica or other sites, tech websites. I was busy running a manufacturing company, so I didn't have time for that kind of stuff. If only I had put all that effort into the Bitcoin, saving money for that instead. Then about 2020 is when I really started following it. And then, of course, in 2021 when it went nuts. And when I was fully involved in crypto, I did. But Pedro, when did you first start following actual following Bitcoin?
2009, actually, or following it would have been about last year. I've literally had a friend of mine, 2008 or 2009. I went to a wedding, and one of my tech friends literally said to me, "What are you guys thinking about Bitcoin?" I said, "That's really interesting." And he goes, "You know, Pedro, you should get into it. You like trading, and it'd be something." And I go, "It's really complicated." And he goes, "Yeah, man, I'll show you." Right. So I know he'd got into it, and he told me that what he said was, this coin will be used for gaming one day, because he was a huge gamer. And I said, "Nah, I'm all right. Thanks, though. I appreciate it. I just think it's funny money." It's 2009-ish, right? And then in 2015 and 14, I had another friend of mine who, at the time, I was becoming a door knocker, and he was actually telling me, "Dude, what do you think about crypto?" And I said, "You know what? I don't know about it." He goes, "Bitcoin's at like $40 right now, $50. You think I should buy something?" And I go, "Honestly, man, I don't know, because it's funny money. It's not like I can use it for something." And I go, "Who's gonna use it?" Like, and mind you, like, I'm ignorant at this moment, like really ignorant.
I'd be
And
ignorant.
I wish, man, I would have, because once I actually understood crypto, which would have been in 2021, I kind of looked at it periodically. That same gentleman who asked me it being about $50 to $100 at the time, I sat there, and he's like, "Can you teach me how to trade?" I said, "Yeah, man, I'll show you how to trade." So that's when did Litecoin
Oh, I have no idea
get
about
started?
Litecoin.
Yeah, so whenever Litecoin got started, I actually helped him through the ICO. I was like, "All right, this is where you want to get in right here. It's going to explode to here." And so he started just accumulating coins. I mean, like, look, he's in college, and he's going through, and he's finishing up college, and he's got some money, and he was a great door knocker. The guy would make basically 50, 60, $70,000 in 3 months as a door knocker.
Woo!
I mean, just phenomenal, like legit. Like, the guy was impressed. That's how he paid for his college. First generation of a Russian immigrant family. It was awesome. Great guy, great story. But I started showing him, and so he's like, "You need to get in, Pedro, buy some Bitcoin." I said, "I don't know, man." And so, but I started going through and watching the charts around that time. And then all of a sudden, I went to, I go, "Where do you find your coins at?" He goes, "I go to investing.com." So I said, "All right, cool." So I went through investing.com, and I started going through the charts, and I realized, oh, these are really, really technical. They trade very technical. And so I sat there and I was like, hmm. So I started going through, and I mean, like, realistically, I probably went through like 200 of them. Like, I put the daily chart on and just started clicking, boom, boom. And when I get into like my zone, right, and I see it, I
Yep.
just start, it's just like, boom, I'm just in it. I'm in flow
But
mode.
pressing that buy button. Buy, 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 buy,
Yeah.
buy, buy.
Well, I wouldn't say buy. I was just
Sell,
looking at
sell, sell,
charts.
buy, sell, buy, sell.
Kind of like this, right? I'll show you on my screen. I'll show you on my screen here.
Oh, hold on one
Where,
sec. I got a quick
oh,
shout out here. I think this will work.
yeah.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Welcome, Mike, back to the show. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. He says he's fashionably late again.
That's all good. Glad you. Here, hit that like button. Don't forget. We'd appreciate that. You know how much that helps. And also, I don't know keeps hitting. Please keep hitting that like, or those heart buttons, those 100 buttons, those laughing buttons. That does help us quite a bit. I'm actually shocked. That does help with engagement. Also, Mike, tell us where you would like to be. Place you would not like to be. Also, right? Like, nobody would like to be in Guantanamo Bay, hanging out with I don't know, some unique people.
Right.
So,
all right, your chart's up.
All right, so this is basically what I was doing, right? I was cutting through and going like this. Boom, looking at it. Boom, seeing it. And then all of a sudden, I stumbled on to this chart. Now, it was around like 4,000, 5,000 mark area, okay? I did a bunch from the top, and then I went to the very bottom, and I just wanted to see what was going on, right? And I remember back when Doge, I think I've told this story here. I think 2016-ish area here. I started noticing that there were some big buys coming in every week, every 2 weeks with a lot of volume. Boom, explode, sideways, boom, explode, right?
Yep.
But it wasn't moving much. And I'm sitting there going, who's buying this? And so I went to my friend and I said to him, I said, hey, how do I get into this coin right here? I want to get into those. And he goes, oh, I think it's Dodge coin, right? Like it's like Dodge or Dog coin. And I said, oh, okay, well, how do we get into it? So at the time it was on some like unique exchange. He's like, it's on this unique exchange. You're gonna have to get a VPN. You're gonna have to do all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's too much, dude. I don't want to deal with that. But my spirit
Never going
man,
anywhere.
my heart, my spirit man started like aching at me, like kept telling me, go back, look at it. So I would go back and look at it. And then, man, and sure enough, and then right here, man, I remember it shot up. And I said, dude, how do I get into this? He goes, I don't know. And then finally, in 2017, I'm sitting there and I'm now starting to see it go, man. I'm sitting there like just something's in me is telling me you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention. Bro, but I still didn't. Like throughout all that, I kept going back and looking at it. And I knew somebody was buying this all the way back in here, like big volume, right? It's spending like $300,000-$400,000 at a time dropping it. Now, I don't know if it was Elon Musk, but it begs the difference. Why would he say go Doge or Doge to the moon when Doge was like at that time?
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so I'm just saying, I don't know if it was him, but if it was him, dude, he got in all the way back here and he's doing really well. So.
All right. I'm gonna head back to this screen right here. And what I wanted to mention on this screen was the kind of the guy that is the second guy with Bitcoin, Hal Finney. Is that his name? Finney. Famous message that he wrote, and Jason Myers of AutoChain posted this on LinkedIn today, so I grabbed it. In talking about how Bitcoin could affect the banking system. And this is in 2010 here. He talks about this. December 30th, 2010. BTC's been running for about a year. And it's getting a lot of talk, obviously. And he says, actually, there's a very good reason for Bitcoin-backed banks to exist. Issuing their own digital cash currency, redeemable for Bitcoins, Bitcoin itself cannot scale to have every single financial transaction in the world be broadcast to everyone and included in the blockchain. Doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a secondary level of payment systems which is lighter weight and more efficient. Likewise, the time needed for Bitcoin transactions to finalize would be impractical for medium to large value purchases. Bitcoin-backed banks will solve these problems. They can work like banks did before nationalization of currency. Side note, if you recall your history lessons about every bank in the United States issuing its own currency that could be redeemed for silver, gold, or whatever material that they backed it on. Different banks can have different policies. Some more aggressive, some more conservative. Some would be fractional reserve, while others may be 100% Bitcoin backed. Interest rates may vary. Cash from some banks may trade at a discount to that of others. Let's see. George Selgin has worked out a theory of competitive free banking in detail, yada, yada, yada. I believe this will be the ultimate fate of Bitcoin, to be the high-powered money that serves as a reserve currency for banks that issue their own digital cash. Most Bitcoin transactions will occur between banks to settle net transfers. Bitcoin transactions by private individuals will be as rare as, well, Bitcoin-based purchases are today. So how prophetic that he's kind of, in 2010, as I posted, I said, very Nostradamus of him, to basically call out kind of what's going on. And Pedro, you and I have spoken about this before in good and bad ways. And that point is, if you remember the old days when the banks would issue their own currency, everything would be great, a town would be prosperous, booming, whatever, and then somebody would steal some money from the bank, and everyone would hear about it, and there would be a bank run. Bank's bankrupt, a town goes bust. And then it happened all the time. Or the executive of the bank was a thief. And so as the economy grew, and so that communities were linked, the government said, this isn't going to work. We need to have a national currency. And so that's when they really focused on outlawing. The U.S. government came in and said, all right, we have the U.S. dollar, and banks can no longer have their individual things. You can only use the U.S. dollar. And that was great because that set the playing field great. And when the U.S. government was backed by a reserve like gold, it worked great because everything was a known value. As the economy grew and the people grew and there's not enough gold and moving gold around became impractical and slow, we had to get off the gold standard. People can argue with that all day with me, and it's useless. You can't have a gold. Your wealth can't be determined by digging up the whole planet. If we are still on the gold standard, the whole planet would be strip mined, and it would be a ridiculous mess. However, now we have something that doesn't have to be strip mined, and the world is starting to rely on it. Pedro, you and I talked yesterday about Qatar, about El Salvador, about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's got a $850 billion sovereign wealth fund. Qatar's got, I was just reading an article, $640 billion. The UAE has got a couple $100 billion also, and they're starting to act in concert, starting to act together. Maybe not making deals together, but having common goals finally. Although Qatar is still a little sitting at the kids' table type thing, but this presents quite this article here that Hal wrote, quite the prediction of what's going on here, because there's so many people say you can't use Bitcoin, it's too slow for transactions, blah blah blah, and right from the beginning they're saying no, this isn't meant for every transaction, and people give Ethereum crap all the time. It's too slow and too expensive, you can't do it, and even the guys at Bitcoin were saying, you can't just have one thing, to do it all. You need a reserve. And so even back then they called it. So even 14 years later from Hal's famous thing, I think Hal died, didn't he? Just mysterious car crash or something like that. Mysterious. Let's start a conspiracy theory. Mysterious car crash.
Mysterious.
Actually, I don't know how he died. It could have been disease, cancer, murder, car crash, something. I don't know how he died. But he died.
Well, God rest his soul, though.
Right, God rest his soul for being Nostradamus here and calling it out how it is. And I've come full circle in this. I've come full circle in saying, you can't. The government has to kind of control everything in order to manage the money supply. And I was essentially right in my own mind until they just started printing way too much money of it. And the both part, at least before in the U.S., one party was like, no, we can't spend. And the other party is like this: spend. And over time, those switched. So don't tell me. Don't write in the comments. Well, you guys this and you guys that.
It's both.
Right.
It is both. So make sure we. Yeah.
Right. One party's 40 years ago. One party was the other way, and the other party says, "So don't get it crazy like that." And there was always a check and balance there. Somebody was always saying we need to be fiscally conservative. And then the 1980s started. And then the 90s, and then the 2000s.
Everything unleashed. Deregulation.
And then now, and then they didn't see any consequences because other countries were buying our debt. Now other countries are not buying our debt. Thankfully, Tether and other stablecoins are buying our debt right now, but that's going to run out at some point. So we got to be fiscally conservative. So to Hal Finney, thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's my little hint for everyone to learn about this. Is that whatever you've read about Bitcoin, go back to the beginning of it and see what the founders were talking about. And you will see that they were right. All the things people talk about in the media, like I said, well, it doesn't scale and blah, blah, blah. It's not meant for payment. Were all those idiots on LinkedIn who are like, it doesn't work for payment, so it's no good. Right from the beginning, they're saying it's not meant for payments. It's meant for a reserve currency to settle transactions, to group transactions, just like we're doing now. And so the history, as they say, when you're talking about what you wish for, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. All right, that's my diatribe about Bitcoin. Let's talk about it all day today. But Pedro, let's get on to talking about the markets. BTC dumped overnight. It said, no mas, I'm shutting the lights out. We're done. We're going home. Okay, it didn't dump that much. It went from yesterday. You said it hit a high of like 47,000, and
Oh,
then
no,
it
no,
dumped
no.
last night over to 41,000, something like that.
So no, no. So on the charts within crypto, it hit like 45,000 area. Okay, like
Yeah.
I said, because this is where our area was hitting. I had talked about how we were going to come up to the supply zone and most likely see a pretty decent sell-off. I didn't know if we were going to see a sell-off and then a push through, or a sell-off, because we saw this already setting up, and I had made mention. Look, we don't have any seller wick, so I'm a little skeptical here, but there is a lot of volume coming into this buy. So it's like on this day. So later that day, I mean, and I don't really go into the details on actually how to trade things, right? But if you go and you look at it like on a smaller time frame, there definitely was huge sellers coming in yesterday as we were putting in this high here. So as we were moving in on the last part of the day, they made a big push up. You can see down here, you had some pretty big sell-offs coming off. I thought it was just profit taking, right? But then
Right.
as we came into yesterday, all right, and I'm going to just show my trading platform here. So this is our, it's BTF yet. Yeah, boom. Here we go. Where are you? Why are you being dumb?
Pitmonk, we'll get to your. Remind us to talk about what you brought up about ETFs and stuff later. We want to get to Pedro and talking about some charts for now.
All right, so you guys can see here. Look, this is the institution, right? This is the institution. This is how they move, right? Like we all trade off of our own dexes or our own sexes, right? And so in the same sense, as we're sitting there and we're trading, we don't really see what the institutions do. Most people don't, right? Because they don't. I mean, if you go on to Bitcoin and the CME and you go into the data and you're able to see the chart, but most people aren't. They just don't do it. So yesterday, you saw Bitcoin. You saw many of them trading at a premium, pushing the market up big time. I mean, it gapped up yesterday, right? From Monday to Tuesday, boom. We saw a gap up and rally up. Now, right up here is our supply zone that I talked about on the charts. But you can see it got all the way up to 47,300. All right. That's huge. Okay. It was funny. I was listening to another commentary guy today. I think it's Crypto Banter is his name.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of them, but he was talking about this too, and I was like, we're both on the same page. Which kind of made me feel cool. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not, but he was talking about how we jumped up and we come back down, and I was like, yeah. And then this was the key. When we gapped down and went up into the evening, it was clear. I was like, oh shoot. So I was waiting to go short, and stuff came up, and I just didn't. I'm so mad at myself, and I just forgot about it. And then I woke up this morning and it was like,
wah, wah,
oh, yeah. It was one of those moments that you just like, freaking A. But I say that because let's jump back to the chart here. The chart, you can see here that literally the institutions wanted to drop it so that they can get it at a good price. So we saw Bitcoin go from almost 5,000 drop, boom, to 4,000 or 40,000, which hence goes into the same area that we've been talking about, that I do expect Bitcoin to come down into this 30 or 40,000 mark, and then to slide down to this 30,000. Now, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, right? But I want you guys to be ready for both sides, right? So that as we're looking at this market, we were ready for this 48,000 mark, and or 45,000 to the 48,000 mark sell off here on this monthly chart. Now, if we do continue, we're probably going to come down to either the 33,000 or 30,000 area. So it's pretty nice. It's actually pretty dope. So it was actually pretty cool to sit there and see. Now the institutions are really playing. Like they ain't messing. So I don't know if they have inside information, right? And
No.
definitely
Nobody has
not.
any inside information.
No,
That's
'cause
all
that would be
hearsay.
the law. It's the law. You can't do that, especially major hedge funds. There's no way that they could get inside information. They'd go to jail.
Quick shout out to everybody joining us from kick.com and on Facebook. There's a couple of viewers on each of those platforms. If you want to come join the conversation in a more real-time manner, come over to YouTube and watch the feed from there. And when you do, make sure you click the live button, because sometimes YouTube doesn't start where we are. It starts at the beginning of the broadcast. So join us.
I'm actually going to place it in the YouTube. Oh, actually, wrong one. I meant to put it in the. Yeah, we'll just put it in the social. That should be better. That's interesting. Why am I not getting? Oh, there it is. Boom. Come on.
That's on your shared screen.
Yeah, there we are. Boom. There we are. Did you get it? And everything is frozen right now. I've got so much going on. All right, cool. All right,
What
so
is this link that you dropped? Oh, it's a link to us.
Yeah, it's a link to us. Yeah, exactly. So that if you're on other platforms, you can sit there and just click here. And if you don't mind, you can click back to that old page that you want to go. But if you could hit that like button, we'd appreciate it. That would help a lot. And watch for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes on YouTube, and then switch back if you want. It does, because we're trying to build that base on YouTube, and then we can switch around. So if we need to, we can always communicate with our community and say, hey.
Same to you on LinkedIn. If you're watching us on LinkedIn,
definitely.
It does help the. We do get a lot of Pedro. We do get a lot of views on LinkedIn. Over time, we seem to get more on LinkedIn, although YouTube is catching up lately. But if you guys want to join us over here and help the YouTube algorithm, then come on over to YouTube. The link was dropped in the comments.
So jumping back to Bitcoin and the idea behind it, man, it's crazy because I remember a friend of mine, originally, and I'm pretty sure he's a Bitcoin millionaire now. We've actually lost touch, and I would hate to be the guy and go, "Hey, buddy, what's up? I'm in this now," and almost be like the slump who comes in and be like, "Hey, how are you?" And so I just kind of let him alone. But it's interesting that when he saw this on such a early, he saw that, and then one of the biggest case uses for Bitcoin is really gaming, right? Like to being able to send money and make your avatar or your growth levels. I can sell that off for real value and interchange that quickly. I mean, like gaming is one of the highest sectors paid in crypto, as well as in just TriFi. It's just this. It's hundreds of billions of dollars that go into it. So, in the same sense, seeing Bitcoin being used, I mean that's why Warren Buffett got into it, right? He bought, what's the company?
Berkshire?
No, not Berkshire Hathaway, but they bought a gaming company, and legitly Warren Buffett went on a tirade about, this was last bull run, about how horrible Bitcoin is, and at the time the SEC really wasn't into it, and it just started dropping Bitcoin. Like literally, when he speaks, it's real. And then it was announced that this gaming company was going to go through and literally start to transition its in-coin games money wise to Bitcoin, and you could actually transact in Bitcoin. And I'm like, oh, so he was dropping the market so that he could buy Bitcoin on the cheap. And it's just, again, Jamie Dimon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think he learned it from? It's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty much it. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. So Bitcoin. So let me ask you a question. I learned about Factom, which was the second blockchain protocol that was actually established after that was not supposed to happen. Why did that happen? Boom. I want to. Nope. That sucks. Okay. Boom. Go. So the reason I was saying this is when you look at Bitcoin as a whole, right? Like it's slow, but right shortly after there was this another blockchain that was created, which is set up for a multifaceted layering outside of traditional blockchains that we currently have. And it was really, as I learned about Factom and realized, wow, the Melinda Gates Foundation uses it, and a lot of other like institutions do kind of use that style of setup.
Right.
And it's primarily used for transaction. Now, a lot of the current blockchains that we know right now doesn't really use Factom technology for what they're doing. But it's really interesting that as we really start to scale, and recently, there was I know this has been tried a couple times now, but a cryptocurrency debit card where you can go out there and exchange your debit card from another. And And there's been a few companies out there, so I'm not going to name any companies in particular. But what I find interesting is that they've simplified this to a point where now, if a person does have crypto, right, i.e., let's say attach it, they'll be able to attach it to this crypto card. So what you do is you attach the wherever your crypto is at to the card, and then from there you go in and you can actually do the exchange like right quick. It's simple and easy. Now, problem is there is a bridge there, but I'm just shocked how quickly. Like I thought I didn't think that was going to come this bull market. So I thought that was going to be coming the next bull market once institutions really establish everything that goes on. So I'm impressed that we're that far ahead within Bitcoin, or excuse me, within crypto, that within, I mean, and we all know, remember the crazy bull run that happened with the last time, and when Shiba Inu was skyrocketing, I literally saw, and this was crazy for me, gold companies taking Shiba for crypto, or excuse me, for gold. I remember calling a few of them saying, "Are you really taking Shiba?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, we are." And I was like, "Is that kind of sketchy?"
Speaking of Shiba, how's Bone doing there?
Oh yeah, bone.
By the way, while you're pulling that up, I brought up the watch list over here, and we had FTX on there, and I switched it out for BNB because Pitmonk just brought up a good point. Everything's plummeting, down 10% last night. Whatever the story is, BNB's up.
Yeah, there's a few of these ones that are up,
but
and those are the. Go ahead.
Let me give 1 second to talk about BNB. Has come up 30%, 40, no, whatever it came up. It went from the low 200s to the low 300s in about a week period, and there was no news. There was nothing, as far as I can tell, no news about Binance or anything like that. You know, as long after, in crypto terms, long after CZ had resigned. But I would bet that research comes out showing that that Binance sold a few of its other currencies. You know, they probably made a couple of $1 billion on the Solana pump, and I bet you they sold a bunch of that and just bought BNB on the open market to give it some price appreciation because everyone's been so down on it lately. Anyway, sidebar, but Pitmonk, thanks for that comment.
Absolutely. You know, it's when I think about BNB, it has one of the strongest communities in all of crypto. I mean, it's a beast. I mean, they don't. It's not a joke. They are tough as nails, and so it's really interesting to sit there and see how things are actually happening in crypto, again, because the basis is literally the people, the community, and their community is so strong. So I'm amazed how, even in the midst of literally the face of crypto being pulled out and reprimanded, they're there. They're still there. And I'm impressed with it. You know what I'm saying? Great job to the community. All those who are in the BNB community.
All right, what happened to Bone?
All right, let's check about Bone.
And Crypto Mike says, is Leash still their other coin? And I don't know.
I probably should pay more attention to Leash. I'm gonna pull that up here.
Bone not doing good.
Yeah. So Bone got kind of punched in the face with this. Now, you know, but in the same sense, the Shiba Inu community is strong. So I don't know if they're planning on pushing much out, but they've got a good ecosystem and they've got some really good tech going on. So it's one of those things that, you know, right now, is this a sell-off by the institutions? Are they the ones shorting this? Well, or is there you know, a plan for them to push this up? You know, I really don't know. But what I can say is let's check out the chart and see real quick. So when we
chart gives it away.
Chart always. So if we look at the longs in crypto or in Shiba over the last couple of weeks, look, it's on the high. There are a lot more longs kicking in, and they're really trying to buy this chart up. So it's something to be paying attention to. But then when we look at the shorts,
is that the daily chart?
No, this is the weekly. I apologize. Yeah, okay. This is the weekly chart. The weekly chart, there's not a lot of shorts here kicking in. Like, it's not a lot of shorts. So something's going on here that I can't necessarily place within this, right? So when you look at Shiba Inu overall, outside of Bone, look at it. Shiba.
God damn, what the hell
no
is that
shorts
chart?
kicking in. No shorts kicking it. And you can see it doesn't fit. I mean, at an all-time high of buyers, right? And we can't see the shorters. Yeah, we're seeing not a strong chart. So I almost feel like there's some type of manipulation here that
No.
ain't, it just doesn't make sense to me, right? I mean, look, you have a buildup of buyers, and then look, your shorts, like, all right, kick in, but now it's the like how what's going on here, right? So it almost feels like to me that there is some manipulation going on here, and potentially, and here's the thing, it did come down to our area that I talked about of that eight coming back down to the 850 800 mark area here, as well as and we could see a flash crash down, like we kind of saw with Bitcoin, to the 634 area again before they kind of rally it back up. But I just think it's really interesting that it's what I'm looking at is it's just some type of manipulation, and I can't pinpoint it. I don't know what it is. When I look at the longs and the shorts on it, we have no shorts on here. There's no shorts, and there's a huge increase in buys. So it does, or long, excuse me, a huge increase in long. So I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what is actually stopping Shiba from pushing up here.
Is
To
that
me
the? I'm
personally,
sorry. Is that the Shiba chart or the Bone chart?
now this is the Shiba chart. Bone is definitely selling off. Bone, 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 bone. Um, but it hit our demand zone that we were expecting for it to hit. If it does sell off, we could see Bone drop back down to the 44 cent, 43 cent area here, before we see another rally. But we are below all the moving averages on the weekly chart here. So to me, it's screaming that it wants to go lower. Also, if we look at the daily chart, it's the same thing. So we've already pierced through this demand zone. We didn't really put in a higher high sustainably. So now we're coming back down. If we fall below the 95, or excuse me, 59 area, my dyslexia kicking in, 58 area, we're definitely going lower to at least that 44 area before we find new buyers at that level with Bone.
I was talking to Zach the other day during this that pump there
Yeah.
On Bone, and he was all over that, and he was very happy. He's like, it's turning around. He had put a number of videos out about it, and then the money just started coming right out. Just.
It's sad. I feel bad for Zach, like, because I know he's really excited. He loves Bone. I don't know how much money he put into it, but I know, like, when you see that going, and when you see the rest of the market moving up, and you see the thing that you invest in, you're like, what the junk, bro? Come on, move it that way. Andale. So it's andale, andale, mama, yeah. Uh-oh, what happening now? So anyways, I'm saying this because look, like let's just look at Caspa, right? Like Caspa, we saw a rally up. I said it could potentially go back up to the top, but I don't expect it. I do expect to see a sell off with Caspa, and sure enough, look, it's dropping off here, right? It's keeping intact with what Bitcoin is doing, and I think I respect that right here, right? Because this shows me that the institutions, it's starting to trade like institutional money here. And that means, this means that it's real money coming in. Excuse me. I had something in my tooth. I'm like sitting there. I ate some breakfast. Anyways,
Sorry, I'm trying to get I'm trying to have a label up for the charts that's big enough for people to read. So I've been working on that today while you're talking.
All right. So if you look at Caspa here, Caspa is really interesting, right? You're seeing a pretty strong, steady mark at this 9 cent area. Like I said, good area to get started in at that 11 cents. But I'm waiting for that 7 cents area. But because we've put in a basing point here, I think another entry point that people are looking for, if you're looking. And I'm also, you have the what do you call it? Michael Saylor outperformed other billionaires with Bitcoin. This guy is a pure chat. Yeah. I was thinking about him.
That was our comment from yesterday.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I'm on the wrong, bro. That's so funny, dude. I'm literally on the wrong show. Yes. Anyways, so I say this simply because when I look at the market overall, right? And I'm seeing it, and as it's moving, I see chat. I don't see chat. Excuse me. I see Caspa. I think it's a good buy. I think they're doing great. They have a great
Carmen Crypto
blockchain.
in the house. BTC took a day off today, 5.6% off of a birthday break. You get a BTC discount today for its birthday. That's the optimism in Carmen Crypto right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry, Pedro, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I don't. Do we have a fake DYOs? I think we have 7. We only have 7 followers on the DYOR Media.
No, we have 22,600, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is weird. I have the false one, bro. We actually have a fake one. Oh, that's so awesome, bro. We have a fake DYOR
Oh, come on.
media. I swear, I'm looking at it right now because I pulled it up. Dude, this is awesome, dude. 7 followers is what they have. That is awesome. All right, boom. Let me jump back here real quick. All right, so Cas was doing pretty good. Let's look at, and I want to bring up. There was one. Oh, that's what it was. ARB. ARB is a beast. I mean, like beastly status. Look at this. Everything's selling off. Everything's selling off. And look, this thing is rallying. I mean, this is ridiculous. It comes down to 147 this morning. And I said, I probably should buy in again right here. And man, it just took off like a rock star. It just said, here I am, rocking like
This is Tom not investing in it.
And this thing it takes off. So it is impressive. And so they're above this resistance level, sitting right here, and they just cream. So the next spot for them, realistically, is, I mean, potentially, I don't think that's the correct. That's a cool coin. UST. Let's try USDT. Yeah. Use meme. We'll try Binance. That doesn't seem right. Yeah.
Damn, wow. Look at that chart. What the hell is that? ARB?
Dude, this is ARB.
Jesus, that's gonna go to fucking the moon.
This is mooning. This is mooning. And it's real. That's real volume. That's good volume. And the day's halfway through, and it's easily 60%, 70% of the volume of the previous highs of the launch. So that's real, and that's Binance. So a lot of people use Binance. So it's mooning, and this potentially could be the first mooner of all of crypto this year, where like a big one outside of Solana, where like it's still a small cap, right? Not small cap's the wrong word, but it's like it's $2-3 billion, right, sitting at. So when I look at ARB, I mean, it potentially go to $20 billion, $30 billion, which could be in the top 10 babies out there. So it's something substantial. And the biggest part that I also look at it is it's like it had a good sell-off. It had defense against the sellers. So the sellers came in, pushed it down, and all of a sudden it just took off. So that's something to be paying attention to. I mean, I always look at, right? Did we sell off, and then did we put a good wick in? A buyer's really sad. And so when it comes back down to this area, this is an area that I had to be like, all right, definitely, like this is going to explode here. If we see a rally moon and then come back down, definitely an area. But just something to be paying attention to. Also, there was one other one. What was it? ICP, that's what it was. ICP. ICP is a beast as well. ICP is showing huge strength there. Really starting to follow on that 8-period moving average. You can see that it's definitely starting to trend off of it. And the reality is ICP really doesn't have, it doesn't have much like resistance until we get to the 22 mark area here and the 38 mark. So it's a strong buy.
Pull up the ICP like just the past couple of days instead of the.
All right. Yeah, this is it. Last couple of days. I mean, it's showing some real good strength. And like I always bring up, it's sold off, and now it's starting to rally.
I think sorry to interrupt you, but I think if I recall correctly, the other day I drew a flag on this, And I was like, it looks like it's getting ready to break out, and that's my big technical analysis skills there, guys. And it did.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's peaking out 16. It's sitting at that $14 mark. A lot of people got in at that $11 mark right here. So that good sell off. And we all know when Bitcoin sells off, we see a sell off in the altcoins, and then the altcoins then explode after that, because it's the time to buy in, right? And like, is this altcoin season? No, not really, but it is. Like, I mean, if it's moving, it's moving. And I think because the institutions are involved, they know that they can get in on the futures. They know they can get in on not necessarily the spot market, but they can get in on the futures and stuff like that within their own personal wealth. I'm pretty positive now many of them know how to use a non-custodial wallet, i.e. Trust Wallet, or many of the other ones that are out there that you can use and be able to put it into, a wallet, and then pay taxes on it. So, and here's the thing, they've got big money, just off of their, many of them make $500 to $1 million, a year. So for them to sit there, and if you're a top CEO where you're making X amount, you're a fool. You'd be a fool if you're in a banking world not to sit there and say, well, my cousin is off on this other island. And, it's like that, they figure out ways to be able to get in. So it doesn't take a lot of capital to make a lot of money. And especially when you get a major coin pumping, there's going to be a lot of liquidity there. So they can start in, push it up for a few days, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then before you know it, they're pushing this baby up. And now, they've gotten 5x, 10x. And then now they can sit there and say, all right, I've made a pretty good penny for the last month. You can't sit there and say that. You know who else I was looking at, though?
Who? Let us know, Pedro.
What's up?
I said who? Let us know.
Oh, I was looking at a MicroStrategies, MicroStrategies stock here.
Yeah, I like the MicroStrategy stock play, including their options, because you can basically use MicroStrategies options as Bitcoin options.
Really?
Yeah, because their stock basically tracks the price of Bitcoin.
Okay. I didn't really overlay it, but this morning I was looking at him, and it was really interesting to sit there. He sold off, large. I don't want to say large, but he sold off stock this morning, right, so that he could buy Bitcoin out on the drop. Like, this man is real about this.
What's the price of the stock there?
Now, here's the thing. Last few months, they've done really, really well. Since
Bitcoin started going up, you can almost overlay the maps and the charts, and so people talk about Saylor came out and just said, hey, you know what? You don't have to worry about these ETFs and all this other crap. If you want to expose your company who can't buy crypto because of its accounting rules and other types of stuff, or the legality of wherever you are, he said, just buy our stock. He said, my company's stock is basically the price of Bitcoin. So just buy our stock, and you've got your Bitcoin play there.
And look, it really is. Wow. So, he bought this morning for his personal wallet. It wasn't even about his company. It was like legit. And you can see, man, literally since December of last year, right? It went down, and let's see if we can get the full scope of this, right? Wow, dude. Wow. Yeah, like legit. Boom. Comes down. Yeah. Wow. It's almost hand in hand.
Right.
That's impressive.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so impressive. Kids on Robinhood, or I shouldn't say kids, I should say everyone on Robinhood, can make that play. They can go and you can buy their options with just a basic Robinhood account.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. He's smart. In that aspect, but he also made a big gamble.
Yeah, I know. As they say, he laid it out on the table there, ladies and gentlemen. He did. Unzipped it and laid it out.
And said, "Crush me." And listen, I actually went and looked at what he actually does. So basically, he creates strategical. He basically creates data mechanisms for companies, right? And he's able to put them into the cloud-based systems and be able to use it. And he primarily focuses on mobile technology. But he's also got a bunch of other clients out there, right? So
Right.
his business is pretty secure. I thought it was more micro strategy, as in, micro trading. So yeah, I was wrong on that one. But it's still one of those things that when I look at the peak here, it went to $1,200. And if we see another Bitcoin rally, which I think we're going to get to 200,000, 300,000, MicroStrategies potentially could see, if this was the peak, right, and we triple, you're talking MicroStrategy sitting at 2,600 potentially, but between 26.
Just buy all the calls you can. The longest calls out you can, just buy them. Just, not that I'm telling you to buy anything. This is not financial advice.
This is not financial
Right.
advice.
Talk to your financial advisor to see if you should buy those things. Don't get me confused on that. Quickly, Pitmonk. I did not read the mainnet's white paper. We said we would, but it was New Year's.
Yeah.
We had things to do. Pedro and I will get to that. Pitmonk says, Pitmonk, you may be behind a little bit. Make sure you press that live button if you're watching. I love that. I love ICP too. This will boom in the next run. It's already starting to boom.
Yeah.
Carmen Crypto says, I don't even think it's ETF season. Lots of laughs. It's always shitcoin season, though. Yes, that is true. Crypto Mike says, yeah, ETFs around the 10th, right? I don't know. The news of the day and the Bitcoin dump and the whole market dump was because of, I don't know, remember the name of the group that predicted that the SEC was not going to approve any of these things in the near future. So the market went, pew, sold the news.
But it was just an article. It wasn't necessarily even a
right.
real,
No, it was just one group. It was, it was like that other big tanking of the market when an intern tweeted something by mistake from the CoinDesk account or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Goldman Sachs in talks to become an authorized participant for BlackRock's and Grayscale spot Bitcoin. Yeah, I know. It's just everyone's going to be a participant. And Space Cat is back. And Space Cat, I didn't give you your props earlier there, so I'm going to do it right now. I don't know if everyone heard that. Nope.
No, we didn't hear nothing.
God darn it! Why doesn't that freaking work?
We're working on. We getting there. So we'll sooner or later do well. Definitely. Yeah, we'll get there though. So, anyways, when it comes to Tesla, I've been looking at a few of these stocks, right? That are starting to really kind of do see a little bit of a sell-off. I've always liked Tesla. Because I think what their technology within neural mesh, I truly think that it will be a wave of the future. But I think we will see, because they did not put in a higher high off of here recently, within the last week. And so I do see Tesla coming down here. So if you're looking at Tesla, and by the way, do you have my system that this is all it's not financial advice? Do you have that up running?
Yes, it's running.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm actually looking at the YouTube channel and I don't see it, so that's why.
Oh, it seems to have frozen. Hold on, I fix it.
Okay.
Oh, the whole thing is frozen. Hold on, give me 1 second to bring it back here.
Okay. But
Just
just so everybody knows, this is all, this is not financial advice. This is for educational.
Stay with us, everybody.
Social entertainment purposes only. But just giving you guys, yeah, we know it's dark. We're about to bring it up, but we had to just reset something real quick, just because when we're talking about this type of stuff, there's laws that you actually have to abide by, and one of them is if you are talking about charts and things of that nature, it's not broken. It looks like it broke. It's on you. Yeah, okay, there you go. I can see it.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
We done.
I'll
No,
get
no,
it
no, we
back.
done.
And Space Cat's comment is stuck. Well, just keep going, Pedro. I'll work this out in the background
All
here.
right. All right, perfect. So is my chart showing though?
Yeah, your chart's on.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. So you guys can see here. And so we don't need no striking financial advice.
Stinking.
Stinking.
Just buy, right. I don't need no advice. Buy. Chuck, you may be behind a few minutes too. Hit that live button if you're watching on YouTube. Just hover next to the lower left-hand corner somewhere and hit live, or scroll the bar over.
So one of the things I was looking at here is if we do see a pretty decent sell-off, the next point is we probably will fall. We'll see Tesla get down to that 193 area potentially as it sells off, and it's not a bad thing, right?
What chart is this, Tesla?
Yeah, this is Tesla. Like if right now it's sitting at 240, but I am looking more for a 175 area here at these levels, simply because like this right here is just a classic, lower low, lower high, lower low, until we get to a higher time frame demand and supply zone, and that range is about right here to about right here. Give me 1 second. It's going to be about right here. So that 216 to 152, it's a decent area to buy Tesla. So if you're looking at, if you like stocks, obviously this does pay dividends and takes care of things like that. If you're looking for it, I think it would be a nice play for an entry, right? Even if you have 2 or 3 stocks at that time, put it in. It's also take some of your portfolio after the bull run happens, and look to put some of it into the stock market, right? And so that pays off dividends, literally, that can pay income to you, and pay pretty decent.
Yeah, it's always nice having a little dividend income on things like that, because the stock could go down, but those shareholders want their money, and so they get their dividends. Just you think about a good example is Ford. Ford stock is a terrible performing stock. It's over the years, it's gone from 2 to 12, back to 4 to 12 to 14, 2. It doesn't matter what they do. They bring out electric cars, and it still goes to 14. Or people say it's going to cost them a lot of money, and they send it to 2. Elon announces anything, it goes to 500 million. But Ford pays big money every year on those dividends. I think they pay quarterly dividends, and because the Ford family, their wealth revolves around that, getting paid those dividends. So you can guarantee that. And so there's certain times that your portfolio should be diversified in instead of just Moon Boy stuff. Nice steady income. You put a couple of grand into some stock and they pay you a couple $100 every year. Not a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing. Some of you guys, if you've been putting money in DCAing throughout the whole entire bull or bear market, some of you guys are going to get 100x's, 1,000x's, right? And if you put in 100 or dollar cost average on some of these ones here, kind of the micro caps, those babies, be smart, right? Take out half that, pay your taxes on it, and put that into some type of traditional finance where you can at least sit there and say, not to say that it's guaranteed, but being diverse in your portfolio is one of those things that I'm a huge proponent. Like, yes, you should know how to day trade. Yes, you should know how to sit there and read a chart, right? If you've got the time and you're willing to put that work in, right? Creating a every day, a journal, and then on top of that, creating a trading plan, and you work and you get better and better and better. That's how you get better at anything, right? You journal it, and I say that because the most important thing is this: being diverse in your portfolio, where if you make 500, 600,000, $1 million in this next bull run, don't let it go to zero. Okay, like that's life-changing income on over a period of 20 years, 30 years. I know a guy, he literally had $1 million in the last bull run, and it dropped all the way down to 90,000. And
just a side note, Pit Monk, you are you're right. If you started in the bear market, I started in the super bull market, so it was awesome. If you've been started in the bear market and have DCA'd the past year, then you are sitting in the catbird seat. And I quickly drew on the screen when you mentioned pay your taxes. Our sponsor, Camuso CPA, pay your taxes. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead and give him his, because I want to pull something else too as well.
All right, I might as well take a minute here then to talk about our sponsors. Everyone, don't go away, please, while I do that. I have to say that the show could not be, the whole channel could not be put on without our sponsors. Audit Chain here, our channel presenting sponsor, and of course Camuso CPA here. Links in the bottom wherever you're watching this from to them to learn about them. Audit Chain, if you're first time you're watching us, has developed a blockchain solution to check up on DeFi, on traditional Fi, meaning that they have developed validating nodes that run their software in which you use a crypto token of some sort called Audit Chain, AUDT. And you can run companies' SEC filings or the European version of it, or the UK version of it, through their system, and it will tell you where they've made errors. And if you're a short seller, this is a good thing to do. Within 5 seconds of them publishing their public documents, you can see where their numbers are wrong, inconsistent, or just mislabeled, whatever the story is, disclosure's missing. And if you run a bunch of them in a row, you can get a pattern. And that also, Camuso CPA, Patrick Camuso, if you don't have your ducks in a row for getting your crypto taxes in order and getting ready to be filed, or you've screwed up the past couple of years and you need someone to go back and fix it, they can do that. Patrick Camuso is one of those guys that says this is financial advice and this is tax advice, because he is licensed to do that for his keeping your butt out of jail job. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to our sponsors. Pedro, go ahead.
Thank you. So one of the things I also want to bring up, a little alpha here, is, so we all know, like right now, at the end of last year's bull run, we heard about, um, why am I forgetting what they're called now? The worlds that are created through digital, like Decentraland, where you have
Metaverses.
Thank you, metaverses. I don't know why I wanted to talk about this. That's nice, man. Pit Monk, you're gonna do very well.
Which one you got up there?
So this is actually Mana, or Decentraland.
Yeah, right.
We know that, and we heard about, basically there's a lot of influencers out there, i.e. Snoop Dogg and a few other people who are very much into crypto, and there's a lot of people who bought Mana here, and so I'm pretty positive, like I think towards the end of that bull market coming up, we could see another Mana push here. And so right now we've seen it now kind of go up here, lower high, and it's put in a higher low. Actually, I thought that was a higher low. Forgive me, it was not. Look at that. I quickly went through it this morning. Either way, I still like Mana. For the fact is that it is still one of the top companies out there. They are still going out there. They're still grinding. So I would sit there and say this is a good buy. At least don't put everything in. But I think they are a decent company out there because they're still building. They're still out there. They're still grinding for it. And you will see a lot of push again come through for Bitcoin, or excuse me, for Mana, because when we have the push at the end of the after Bitcoin halving and everything like that, everything, it wasn't that big of a deal, towards the beginning of the market, but at the end it was. And I think that's what we'll see here as well. It's a big, huge push behind it. There's a lot of accumulation here. It's still a good company, and so that they're still building. That's it. That's all. I want to add Mana here. There's a few other guys out there, but I sit there and I see this and I go, it's a nice little baby there.
All right, Pedro, take it for a minute. I'm going to, as they say, take the quick break here to refill the tea and empty something else.
All right, excellent. All right, so one of the things I also want to bring up is also Theta. Theta was actually one of those ones that we had talked about, right? Somebody brought it up, and so I brought it up here. It's actually hitting our supply zone that we talked about here, as you guys can see. So we're basically jumping from 1 175 to 133. You can see we hit it. We did a nice little kind of sell off here the last 2 days. Potentially, we could see it come back down to the 85-cent mark area here, and potentially come back in down to the 66. But if not, I would sit there and say that theta could probably be pushing up to in the next level, that 254. Right? Like if we push through the supply zone, the next spot is 254 before we hit another area. And I'll mark that out right here. And let's see. And that's going to be a weekly. And is that, yep, still, and that's even a monthly zone right there. So that's one of those things that we've got. If that's a daily, that's a triple threat right there. Yeah, no, it's not. But either way, it's still a weekly and a monthly zone. So it's something to be paying attention to. And as you guys can see what I just did right there, I do look at different time frames to see if my zones are in place there. A little alpha right there, if anybody wanted to pick that up. Here we go, a little monthly supply. Boom. Hit OK. All righty. So you can see right here, we hit that weekly. This is a monthly. So this is the next spot that if theta pushes up through this, which is finding little support on that 8-period moving average, it's going to be hitting that $2.60 area, which isn't, it's not a bad little alpha right there. Sitting at 119. So that's another thing. And I think we started following it back here when it was sitting at that 80-cent mark area here. So I think if you guys were looking at that and got into that, it was a nice little run for you guys. If we do sell off, like I said, I do expect it to see it come down to that 86-cent mark area here as well. The other one I also wanted to talk about was Uniswap. Uniswap is another one that I think is just a cash money producer. It kills it's just, it's what they do. Everybody uses it. If you're going to buy Ethereum or you're going to need it for something, right, that's what you're going to use it for. Right, and so they made a lot of money, and their coin is doing fairly good in comparison to like the rest of the broad market. It's actually really starting to show a little strength here. So I sat there and I was looking at it this morning, and I was like, you know what, this is a good little coin here. I do want to see it come back down though to this 4.7 area if it does sell off here. And the way I was looking at this was, as we start to see sector rotation in traditional finance is something that they basically, when a sector does really, really well, right, and it hits a certain point where it's like their volume starts to drop, it's been sold off, institutions then will sell off their positions, and a lot of these sectors that have done very, very well, and they go by quarterly, sometimes half a year, some of them are a year, based off the cycle of the sector. This right here, and I bring this up because these are everything that I'm bringing up are sectors, right? We're gaming, Axie is gaming, Uniswap as well as Crow, that is DEXs and sexes, right? So that when we look at these, you want to sit there and say, okay, now that the institutions are really kind of getting involved and looking and buying this stuff, you'll see them now as they have a huge rally, right, and they make a good amount of money, you'll sit there and see them legitimately start to do sector rotations. And in crypto, our sector rotations are much shorter than regular finance, right? Like a sector rotation for us is like a week or two, maybe a month, right? But it's really more like 2 months or 2 weeks, right, where we see something rally and then we'll see a sell-off, right? And so and our rallies aren't like traditional finance where, they're happy with traditional finance if they get, i.e., let's say, 50%, 30%, 50, it's like, because they're hoping to average about 12% annually, to over a long period of time. Whereas crypto, right, we're mad if we barely get a 1x, which is 100%. Or we're really, we're not as mad if we make 4 or 5x, right? What we're really looking for is that 10x ratio.
That stinking 1x. Nobody wants that. Who wants to make 100% of their money?
I know, right? Especially within 2 weeks to a month. So, whereas in crypto, it's legit, right? We know that, especially when you start talking about micro caps. So I do like Uniswap for the sector for exchanges. I think again, I think it's still undervalued here at these levels, and we could definitely see it push up to at least $12, doubling it, enter these higher levels. So it's going to be really interesting to see as we start to buy. You can stake these companies out there, so you can definitely get also again alpha off of it. And if you're buying at these lower levels, when we see this has a potential to go, if it goes above its previous high of the previous market high, we're talking that's 44. And I know that in crypto, getting what is that for 8x is like, yeah, right? Especially on a bull crazy market. But when you're considering that this potentially could be a much higher, right? Let's say get to 100 and then come back down to 45, being at $6 is not bad, right? And so something to be paying attention to. And one last one, I want to bring up VET here. VET is one of those ones. It's an OG. It's been around for a long time.
Definitely an OG.
It's starting to push up here. I was waiting for it to actually come back down to a 1 cent mark. I'm kind of mad at myself that I kind of waited too long here. I did see volume starting to come in right here at these levels in October, but I thought we'd see a little sell off before we saw a push. But sure enough, man, that is starting to push here. We're starting to see it really pick up. So I'm definitely looking, especially that we've had these push-ups and these sell-offs in the last 2 weeks, and with a lot of low volume on the sell-off, I'm definitely much more bullish to seeing it push through the supply area and potentially go up to that 8 cent, 9 cent area from our 3 cent. So that's a little thing that I'm definitely looking for.
I got to tell you, Pedro, it's amazing how these charts are all kind of following the market sentiment of of Bitcoin coming back, the optimism in the market, and all that. And Bitcoin moves from in the past I don't know, not year, but in the past 3 months, it moves from the 30s, the low 30s, high 20s, low 30s into the middle 40s and kind of hanging out in there. But the altcoins have 1x, 2x, 3x, Solana 10x to whatever it did. Those babies move. And so, you got to think that the market cap in the altcoins is going to be exploding. Well, it's exploding now, but it's going to explode as more and more people see this and get into it. I mean, there's so many people out there and institutions that are dipping their toes in the Bitcoin and Ethereum markets. And then they got the junior guys at the end of the desk down there at the end of the hall, or the bottom small box on the Zoom conference call, and they're on mute all the time. And they're like, hey, 7x, up 700%. And the other guys are like, well, we're shooting for 5 to 10% in Bitcoin this month and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, us down here in the corner. And so you got to think that awareness is going to come around and it's going to boom even more. And for those of you like Pitmonk that have DCA'd, it's going to pay off.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think absolutely. We actually forgot. I just want what Pitmonk just said about nets here.
Yeah, Pitmonk, are you live with us here right now? It's 1:20 p.m. Eastern time. I gotta fix that YouTube thing where it catches people up. But anyway, no. What we're gonna do, what Pedro and I are gonna do, is we're gonna read up on that, and we're gonna tell you which day we're gonna talk about it, and then so you can rally the community to come in and watch and ask questions, and or let us ask questions of the community on the air. Yeah. That's the best thing for us to do to prepare for. We know you want to hear about it all the time, but yes, he is live. He says good. But so if you have any influence in the community, we'll say like, hey, we're going to discuss it on the show on Thursday or whatever. And probably in the second half of the show or whatever. We'll let you know. And so you can engage the community and say, hey, we need your help. They're going to talk about us, raid the show, bomb it, and then we'll get all kinds of engagement. We'll talk about them, and they can answer our questions. Or we can do it. I love your plan on main nets. And that's how it works. This is, as I tell everybody, we love having this show and all that. But it's really a marketing effort. It's a marketing effort. We're trying to sell our personal brands. We're trying to sell the channel brand. We're trying to, we're not trying to sell any financial instruments. But all of this is all marketing. And so if we can help out in a legitimate way, get people to come watch the show, talk about their project, might not recommend it, might find a flaw in it and say, dump this. No, we won't do that. But we're not looking for flaws. But so, we do want to do things like that. So let's plan that. Pedro and I will talk behind the scenes on when we want to read up about it, and we'll give you a day in advance notice to do that.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and we got to be careful, right? Because the SEC is in there. So when you sit there and you say, hey, and me and him do not. I mean, we both used to have our Series 7, 6, and 65, but we don't have that now. And if you don't got that, then all of a sudden, you become under scrutiny, and it's not worth the headache of it. So,
but we can still talk about the project. We can still say, hey, here's where you go find information about it. You can have community members talk about it and say, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we'll be the devil's advocate. We'll be like, well, a lot of people are not eating sliced bread now. Now they're just back to ripping it apart,
That's funny. Which is true, man. I mean, I'm all about that rye, baby. Like, I'm all about that rye. Shoot. But here's the thing, though. I'm looking at this here real quick. I can see here that this is a really good resistance level here on NetZ, which is not resistance, support level. That 8-cent mark area here to the 7-cent mark area. It's not bad. And if you got in on the low here, which is that 4, you're still sitting. I think the peak is 9. So I mean, that's not bad. You almost have a 2x there. So it's a decent chart when I look at it for nets. The biggest key though is this: if it does see a little bit of a sell-off, this area here would be an area that you would want to get in, and then after that, that 4-cent area, which is going to be the low. I don't think it'll drop down to that, but I don't think, it's still a microcoin, right? So it's not bad. It's just one of those things that we want to see. We want to see catch fire here and really push it hard. And that's kind of what we're waiting for. You can see here that every time it does try to sell off, there are people that are buying it. So that's not a bad thing, right? That's definitely not a bad thing.
Well, Pedro, I've got plenty of time here today. As I say, Mrs. Striking is out doing Mrs. Striking stuff today before she goes back to work. And we've got a lot to talk about. Too. There's plenty of charts to talk about. I don't know many charts you have, but I wanted to start the process for talking about the DYOR Live portfolio. A couple of you listening have heard me talk about this before, but what we want to do for the new year is start with like a fake $25,000 and invest in 5 to 6 projects. It doesn't mean we need to be day traders and be like, buy, sell, go short, go long, all this type of stuff, because that would take up way too much of our time. But come up with a portfolio of things that Pedro and I talk about, but also take input from the community for buying and holding. Obviously, just on paper trading here, so we'll have little risk, and we'll probably make 1,000x because there's no risk. But that's not the point. We want to do a joint community type thing so we can track it and see how our, not just predictions, but how our logic and reasoning goes or something. Pedro, what the hell is that you got on the screen there?
Oh, this is mana.
Is that today that they just dumped?
Yeah. So I was going over it.
While you're talking about it, they dumped?
No.
Oh.
It dumped this morning when everything was dropping.
Oh, I thought that was like the minute chart or something. I was like, geez, you're the Grim Reaper today, Pedro. And today, man, Kramer, sell.
No, I like it because it did a pretty good sell-off. And the fact is that the sell-off came down to a couple institutional areas that were bought in. So we literally fell, or we sold off of the 89 almost to a T, and now it's going to be coming down potentially to that 39-cent area. And so the metaverses, I feel like, even though they're taking a beating right now, as sector rotation happens in crypto, which is a lot shorter than traditional finance, we should see money then come into, because it's been beat up and it's still a good business. It's still doing some good stuff. So to see it get down to let's say that 30-cent area or 38-cent area, and potentially back up to $1.60, or most likely, and this is what I think we're going to see, is going to get above the previous highs and push even harder. So, but for me, it's one of the things that I'm looking at. It's a top 100, so I try to pay attention to the top 100, what's actually going on, because these ones are, been around. Not that it's not that it can't fall apart, right? I mean, look at FTX, right? Like, it was the golden child forever, but
Yep.
but the reality is this: is that you can, you can get in some pretty good deals when you see things that are being basing and they're starting to show a little profit. And if they're a good business, it's one of those things that you just need to be paying attention, going, you know what, it's a good business, still working. They still got a great community. They've got good tech. They've got a whole entire ecosystem. Hey, pay attention to it. Oh, news coming out about this one would blew me away. Like,
what news might that be?
The news with the SEC as well as Congress saying, where is it? Starts with M. Not Manoa. Why am I saying it? It's the one where basically when you buy it, you become incognito. Like,
Monero.
Yeah, Monero. There we go. XMR. Monero. Yeah. Yeah, Monero, with such bad news of Congress coming out with all the stuff that they're doing, yet Monero is still sitting in between this range. I thought that was going to have a huge sell-off, especially with like the U.S. saying, you know what, we're not going to allow, we're going to come against it and all that stuff. And they're still like, yo, look at them. I mean, I have to admit, like, their community is strong as a beast. And like, look at this. It's still sitting, I mean, at literally 154. It didn't even put a lower high in, or excuse me, it didn't even put a higher low in, and it put a higher high in at this point. So I sit there, and that's another one that's like, man, it's strong. It's really strong. And when you consider its peak was literally at 553, right? And the last bull, or actually last bull run is 537. Potentially, if we see this rally back up, you're talking that's a 5x on a major coin, and the coin here, if you do purchase this, literally is a coin that helps you out, like if case you need to transfer some money.
I'm totally into the privacy coins, and I believe eventually they will win out for the general crypto world, and it just makes so much sense. It doesn't make any sense that everyone's wallet has to be public for everybody. It makes zero sense at all. And I mean, I can see certain government wallets that need to be public to track, government holdings of Bitcoin or any digital asset. But for regular people, do any of you listening, any of you, all of our 20 or so viewers across all the different platforms, if any of you think it's a good idea to have all your transactions public and your wallet holdings actually public now, because it's not like the old days where it was secret. Now you almost cannot have an actual private DeFi wallet, because any on-ramp and off-ramp or any exchange transaction links you forever to that wallet and its chain of where things go. You almost have to be a miner and never spend anything on the real world, just on other crypto stuff. If anyone thinks public wallets are a good thing, let me know, and we're going to have some fighting words.
Fighting words. We're going to fight. What's that?
Crypto Mike says, I vote privacy. That's why you live in the sticks, Mike, because you want to be left out by yourself. Do what you want to do. That's right. Have the government look into everything you do. Or not the government, but how about your housing association? This is a good example. Here's a good example. I read this article. This is not me being a genius or anything like that. Is that this was a theoretical, not a real world example. A housing association knows what your wallet is that you pay your housing association fees from, because you're paying in stablecoin. Someday in the future, everything's public. You have a KYC'd wallet, and everyone's figured out whose wallet is whose. And all of a sudden, they see your balance getting too low. And they're like, wait a minute, he's not going to be able to pay his property taxes. His house may get foreclosed, which will bring ill repute to our neighborhood. They could foreclose on your house and boot you out, because a lot of housing, those things for your housing agreement or whatever it is, homeowners associations have a clause for everything, including if you fail to pay your property taxes, or may pay them, or may face financial difficulties, we can foreclose on your home to prevent ill repute to the neighborhood. So think about that. Think about the downsides of everybody being able to know how much money you have, or get it wrong. They may only know one wallet. Bad stuff could happen. So yes, I vote privacy too, and I will talk about that to no end here. And Elizabeth Warren and all those politicians go, everything's got to be KYC'd and public information. We can't have private. This kind of stuff. Banking's essentially private now. You can, nobody public can't go in and see. Cash payments, Pedro, are cash payments private? Yes, they're private. So I don't want to hear any of that stuff from the politicians. If any politicians are listening, come on our show and debate us. We will gladly do that.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness we don't have HOAs in the UK. I've never heard of a good thing said when HOAs are mentioned. No, well, they do keep up the common areas. They're not like your councils in the UK. I don't know where in the UK you are, but your local council is kind of the same thing. It's more ingrained in the public law in England than in the US. But no, they get. Let's face it, homeowners associations are like anything else. They can be good if someone good's running it. If someone bad is running it, then your life is hell. Tried mining Monero on my server, but wasn't getting any rewards, so I stopped after 6 months. That's a long time to go without getting anything. Chuck says Monero's a bunch of rebels. What? Didn't you mention that you were trying to mine Monero at one point? Not that I just outed you on public airwaves.
But here's the thing about Monero, man, is in the future there's a few of these coins here, and they've taken a good beating. They're really good beating. So when I look at it now, right, like I just don't see them not doing really well in the next bull run, just simply because they've taken such a good beating and they've held up. So it's one of those things that I'm like, you know what, when you see something like that, and it's just consistent. It's just humming along here. It's not, it's not exploding, but it's not like selling off that you would expect it to. So they've got some pretty good diamond hands.
All right, sorry about that. I'm just going to take a second here. I'm trying to log into my CoinMarketCap account to get to the portfolio page.
No worries. Let me go ahead, and I'll bring this up again. I have a few of these that I want to bring up. This is literally what I do all day long. So some people, they think it's weird, but hey, I think it's cool. Is it Flow? I don't think it's Flow. Which one was it? No, it's not Flow. Phil, no. Not FTT. Oh, wait, what was FTD? What was that? I'm gonna go to FTT real quick. Boom, man, look at that. November, everything sold out, man. This is another one that I do want to. All right, this is what I want to do. I'm not telling you guys to do this. Okay? But FTX and FTT, like, I want to buy them. And the only reason why is, $100, right? If you get it, you can't even get FTX USD. Can't even do it anymore. Sorry, crypto. What can I sit there? FTX USD. Allow me. No, it's not FTX USD. USD. The only reason why I say this is because, like, this is the Hail Mary. This is like a total degen move where you throw $50 in, right? $10 in, and the thing does, 1,000x, 2,000x, and you're just like, yeah. And also, all of a sudden, and you make $50,000 off of, $50. So $100,000. So again, you never know, right? Like, I know I go out to eat sometimes with a couple friends of mine, and I'll blow $100. You know what I'm saying? Like on
right.
One meal. So it's like, at least I might, besides crapping out the meal, like, at least I might get that money back potentially. Most likely not. It's like it's like 99.9% not. But it's still worth enough to go, but I might. And why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because this right here, look at this. This guy is in jail. This thing went from literally 00, I don't know, 50 to 3 zeros right there, all the way to the top. It did 100x, right, from the bottom here. And so obviously it's selling off here and a bunch of stuff's going on, right? But you don't know. You just don't know if it does come back. Because you know why? Crypto. That's why. Speaking of
crypto, exactly.
Speaking of FTX, did you hear about they're not going to give him another trial on the financial injury? For
They want this to go. They want him to go to jail and for this story to go away. That's what they want.
Yes. Well, but dude, there's an outcry of people saying, "Wait, you can't do that because we want to know who's on the list that he gave money to," and they're like, it's just really interesting to see what's actually going on. And here's the other part behind it. I thought about this last night. If let's say he goes away, right? But his family is good friends with a lot of the upper elites, right? Especially in New York and how
a lot of those guys are starting to go to jail too. Epstein crowd.
Either way, yeah, very much. But here's the thing: if Biden, let's say he doesn't, i.e., because Biden can make, what's the word I want to say? He can pardon,
right?
And so that would be one of the pardons that he could sit there. He gave. I'm almost positive, but he gave money to Biden, and he could sit there and just be like, all right. His family hits him up and say, dude, take care of your boy who take care of you, right? Boom. He's out. And then he's done. Dude, he's like, deuces. Biden would be like, deuces to the wind, late. Like, just, he's like, I'm no longer in this. I don't got to worry. I'm going to take care of one of my boys. So I just think he totally could do that. Literally one of the things. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't have to worry about anything. Obviously, he'll never be in crypto again. But, well, don't say never because, dude, crypto's crypto. Dude, isn't it so crazy to sit there and think that, right? Like,
totally, absolutely bonkers.
Dude, I mean, it would crack me up. He gets pardoned, and all of a sudden he starts FTXF 2, right? Where it's like, whatever the FTX, and then have the last, like FU, right? To the world, and all of a sudden you just see a bunch of degens, bro, getting in, and it makes like 5-6 billion, dude, like overnight. Like that would be something that would be completely crypto, 100%. Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so I'm in the middle of creating our. I'll tell you what. Let me bring this up here. Not to cut you off, Pedro, but I wanted to get this in before we went on another tangent. Here, let me get to the screen. Okay, so it's on that screen. Let me switch. Do. All right. So I've got the. Let me get rid of this. Oh, come on! Where does that go?
It's really, when you guys do a live show or whatever, it's really interesting because you got to sit there and be able to talk while at the same time being able to sit there and do. You almost have to split your brain somehow and figure out how to talk, how to do. Like, I've learned how to talk and text now at the same time and do different things. Like, it's really interesting. I'm like, dude, I'm like multitasking. And women are naturally better at this because you guys can use both sides of your brains, whereas men partition our parts of our brains, like the thinking and the emotional part, right? And so the thinking part is obviously in the prefrontal cortex, right? And so it's just really interesting to sit there and learn how to do. And I'm thinking, like, how am I able to do that, right? Anyways. So go ahead.
All right. So on the screen here, I've got our portfolio set up. We've seeded it with $25,000, of which I just took, my spare change from my pocket, just put it in some crypto things, and we're gonna start the process for for buying some stuff. Not particularly by any type of pattern, but we want this to be a community engagement project here. We want your stuff to come up. Obviously, we're not going to go all meme coins. Maybe if this is a success, we can have a serious investment portfolio wallet, and we could have meme coins, in which on Mondays we do Meme Coin Monday Minute, in which we invest in a bunch of YoBro tokens and stuff like that. Which is fine. Everyone's got their market, and Pedro was just talking about how we could have a separate portfolio, all rugged tokens, or things like Luna that you can make 100x on it. God forbid this thing goes like 1 million and it's all paper, and we're like,
that's good to go.
And so we're starting out at 25K. It added 5 thousandths of a cent to buy this tether. To our portfolio cost. So we're just going to start out like that. And what we want to do is we want to get some input from the community on what our first $5,000 buy should be. And so for those of you listening, let's do it. I don't know when Pedro and I will actually start the portfolio process. We'll talk about it unless all of a sudden 10 people right now go, we want you to buy all the same thing or something like that. But we want to invest this 25,000K this week. And see where it goes. Crypto Mike says BTC, ETH, BNB. Well, yeah, of course you can do that, but we want to hear some of the other things as well. I mean, everyone always says buy BTC. We can buy some of that. Buy some TEG. Space Cat says. Remember, this is fake, so it's not going to influence any price if we buy it. But Pedro, I don't know if I guess that's a good question. Didn't we try and look at TEG before Space Cat? We couldn't figure it out, or whatever the story was. I don't remember. But anyway, like I said, we're going to start doing this right now. I guess you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that right now we're going to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. How about that? Let's just buy $5,000 in Bitcoin.
But before we want to jump in, let's first make sure we're getting in at a good time. Give me a second.
See, I knew Pedro was back there listening.
Yeah, sorry about
he's
that.
Like, I'm going to take a quick break here, and he heard me talking. He's like, no, wait a minute.
No, wait. You know what? Let me look at. See if we can go down here a little bit more. Boom. Yeah, we're gonna go down here a little bit more. I would almost say let's put a buy in at the 39,700 area, off the 200 period moving average. Can we short in this or no?
Yeah, but I haven't figured out how to keep track of all that shit yet. I got to get a spreadsheet going. Obviously I can do. I'm just literally putting the CoinMarketCap portfolio thing together, so it just tracks it for us. And so I was just thinking at this point, just something simple. Instead of being a proper day trader and buying and shorting stuff and all that type of stuff, because how the fuck are we gonna keep track of all that shit? I mean, unless we actually do it, it's like, how much money did we make on that short? We just have to guess.
We could just literally just go in and create a sheet where we just literally say shorts, longs. And then
trust me, I am an Excel guru. I love Excel. I was just trying to say, just for right now, just for this purpose, just keep it simple. We can always transition this into a spreadsheet, or move it to like Mexi's paper trading platform or something like that, or somebody's platform like that.
How about this? How about we try to get them as a sponsor, and then see if they'd be willing. Even if it's a couple $100, you know what I'm saying?
I'll reach out.
We put in a couple. Yeah, throw out a couple $100. Say, hey, we're willing to trade and stuff down, put it on air and use you, and just kind of show that point, how to use it and feature certain points, right?
I'll do that with the. Actually, I don't know who has the best paper trading platform of the exchanges or whatever. If someone wants to say, hey, these guys are the best. I mean, I've used Mexi's futures ones. Even on the futures trading, fake paper trading one, I've lost my ass. Definitely going down. Wow, that went up a lot. Woo! Liquidated again.
The key is to always cover your risk, right? So what the issue is, people sit there. Let's say we buy here, right, and it shoots back all the way up here, right? Well, take off profit so that your risk is no longer a risk anymore. So if it does come through, you've made money, right? It's the macro increases that keep your account moving up, where you have higher highs and higher lows, right? And so, like for example, like here, right? If it comes back down to this level here, that 32 area, I would sit there and go, okay, let's buy in at this level here, because there's a moving average on a higher time frame, where I can at least take off my risk, where we sell off part of the portfolio, a small amount, to make sure that we don't have a sell off, right? Where it then, now we're down for that trade, whereas no, we're break even. If we could be able to take the position, right, and then put a option on the downside as protection, that in itself would actually be helpful too, right? You understand options, so
Yeah.
you could sit there and run the date, you could run the theta and the delta and
Oh,
all that.
you're putting no, no. I'll hire a little kid right out of MIT with all our extra sponsorship money to do that for me. I mean, obviously, there's websites you can do to all stuff to track it, and we can get very complicated. But my idea of this is just start something simple, a community-based thing where people are just, like, buy this, I know it's gonna go, and then we'll put $5,000 into it. Of the fake money, and then it tanks, and we'll be like, everyone will make fun of them on the air because Space Cat told us to buy that, and then we'll say, no, that's a bad deal, and then he'll make fun of us. I told you it's up 1,000%, and we'll be like, whoa, we suck.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we're going community first. Engage the community, and then get technical on them as the community gets built up and more engaged on it. Because if we start talking about thetas and stuff like that, guys are gonna be like this.
Yeah, I gotta be careful there. All right, that sounds good. What about Max Chain? So reach out to Max Chain. That Spacecast is checked out.
I did. I reached out to one of the guys there on one of the forums that we share, and we didn't connect. So I'll try again.
NFT Moon. Do you guys want me to check out NFT Moon?
Check it out. NFT. I think that's an inside joke.
Oh, I'm a little slow there. There we go. NFT Moon. Everybody hit me up right now.
Ironically, that's what started the NFT. But Chuck, is that the one we're talking about from? Yeah, that's the one we're talking about. That's the one that started. Basically, my whole career back in the in Chuck's too, and you're a bunch of the old DYOR project guys. Not career, but the reason we all got together. A bunch of us were following another YouTuber who is since no longer YouTubing, and he was just a scammer. And he was just, what he would do is he'd talk about projects, and then we'd on screen, and he would pump them, and then we'd all be like, yeah, let's all buy some. And then you'd see him looking at his phone, and all of a sudden it would tank. And you'd be like, wait a minute, he just sold out on us right there live on screen. Anyway, he was pumping this one called NFT Moon. And there's a bunch of us watching. We didn't really know each other back then. And it's mooning, and man, it's going up. It's like 5x or whatever, right on the air. And we're like, ooh, all these people are buying. It's great. We love it. Love crypto. And it's all of a sudden someone says, hey, can anybody sell? And we're like, oh no, honeypot. We all got honeypotted on live YouTube, right, Chuck? Honeypot back in the day, and so that's what got us together to say, hey, this is BS. Let's form a group and review these products so people can't scam us like that. And someone said, hey, let's call it DYOR, and yeah, Chuck, it changed my life. I pretty much, except for the work I do for Mrs. Striking and her business, I do this and trying with Pedro here, trying to make it a go and get some income. I'm sorry, I still have the screen saying that the Bitcoin is on the chart there for some reason. What is it that you have up there?
Oh, I have Matic. So I'm looking at Matic right now. I think Matic would be something that we're having a little sell off, a good little sell off here, and I was thinking
Damn.
Can we put in a buy at 59.60 area, potentially right up in this level here?
I don't know how this thing works, but yeah, we can do that. Add transaction. We can just say we bought it there, and then we're in profits already.
Nah,
Is that not how that
definitely not.
works?
Nah, that'd be great. I mean, if I could go back in time, that'd be dope.
You know, we just have to go back and see if it hits it. So we'll just say we'll have to. Let me see if I can put a note. I guess I'm gonna have to do this on a spreadsheet after all. All I wanted this to be able to do is automatically track the prices of everything, the value of the whole thing, and then I can share it, and then other people can look at it too and stuff like that.
Dope. That's good.
All right, I do have a spreadsheet for it, but what did you want to do? You wanted to let's see.
So
I'll put a limit order in. Limit order.
Yeah, it's 65 cent on Matic.
$5,000 worth at what price?
I'm gonna say 5,000. I would say 2,000.
Let's not get cheesy here on us here. We've got
No, 'cause the thing
25K.
is-
We want to do 5,000. We want 5 things here that we each invest about. That each take a $5,000 investment. Keep it simple. Then later we can get more complicated.
Well, if we got 25,000, and let's say we want to do.
Oh,
10.
Pedro, you're killing me. You're thinking too hard on this.
I'm sorry. Okay, like that's me though. I mean,
What's your price to buy this at?
Okay, I would say you do what you want. I'll say the prices.
Okay.
I would like 61, like 61 cent area.
All right, so we'll put it in 61, and if it, I'll on the spreadsheet, I'll write an API call or something to query the price. If it ever hits that price, it'll change it to green or change it to say bought or something like that.
Yes, like this is like that area here is where I'm looking.
All right, where do you want to buy Bitcoin?
BTC. Let's buy BTC at. Oh, it's a nice little rally. It's starting to come back up.
Oh, I would have just bought it 5 minutes ago. You see? Why'd you guys break up your show? We all we did was argue about fake money.
Here we go. I would say, see this area right here. I don't like this area here. I'd rather see us buy at the 34,000 or the 30,000.
Dude, that could be in like 6 months. The community's not going to be very engaged if we can't buy it in the next day or two.
Okay. All right, then I guess we'll buy now. I mean, so everybody's engaged right now. We can buy now. Because
think marketing, not day trading. Think marketing.
Yeah. Yes. We could buy now. We'll say we'll buy now because right now we had a decent sell off. It came back, and now it's coming back. So.
All right. What price did we just buy it at? Just tell me the price so I can.
It'd be like 42,000. So
we'll just do 42,000 even.
Yeah.
All right, and so equals this divided by that. Oh, sorry. Equals this divided by that, and we just bought 0.119 bitcoins. Add transaction, and Bitcoin 0.119 at 42,000. All right, so what we got to sell $5,000 in Tether, including fees. Yeah, this thing tracks fees too. All right. Well, that didn't work. It just said we got 35,000 now, even though I bought more. Tom, sell. Add transaction, Tether, sell Fell 10,000. There we go. Okay. So we've got $5 grand in BTC and 20 grand in Tether. Wait, why is Tether saying it's worth $1.22 right now?
Tether?
That can't be right.
No, there's no way.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's we've made $1.22 on Tether because it varied by 1,000th of a cent. Because we had 20 grand worth of it, we made $1.22.
That's funny, dude. I was sitting there going like, wait, what's going on? I was like, how is that possible, dude? Like, I thought, are we having a divergence going on? Is it shooting up? The reason why I was saying, are institutions? Holy smoke! I didn't even think about that. That's actually a really good idea. UST.
Oh, I still have Matt. I've been trying to keep the names of charts up while you're doing them, and requires a lot more attention than I thought. Let's see. Chuck says sold Matic at 107. Need it to drip below 0.70 to rebuy. The rest I have staked. Crypto Mike says you in Canadian. Not currently in a Canadian now. I'm in Ottawa. Yes, I am in Ottawa. But I don't know what Canadian means other than asking me if I was in Canada.
What is Circle doing? USDC.
All right, Space Cat, send us a link to Tag again. So, oh, sorry, Crypto Mike. Is it in Canadian? That's a good question. I'm in. What is the website coming in at? What is? I think I have it in USD. Yeah, I have it in USD because we're at 42,000 for Bitcoin.
This is really interesting to see. Wow, I didn't realize that USDC depegged. When did it peg?
They had a problem.
March 23rd. Holy moly.
Yeah, I remember there was the market upheaval. Something was going on. I can't remember. Something else was crashing. Some other stable coin.
Probably, I forget. Yeah, at that time, everything was messing. Yeah, wow, I can't believe 12 cents. That's not, dude. I hope that they figure out a way to make sure that that doesn't happen, because that could just kill crypto, literally.
Well, at the time, USDC, all the stable coins since the Luna crash have beefed up their balance sheet, and Circle made up for a bunch of that. Circle used to be a joint venture between Coinbase and I can't remember the other company.
Was it Rob O'Leary's company, right? Or
no? And then Circle is now its own company now. And they raised a lot of money and got their balance sheet in order. So I think they're actually stable now. Stable. They got 100% guaranteed.
It makes me wonder about what's USDT, not USDT, but US.
Genesis, Mike says, right.
There we are, USDD. Ah, they're still deep. Wow. They're still having a hard time keeping up. It's weird to see all these people. Like, there's a lot of shorting going on with these stable coins. Like real. Look at that. Look at the volume there. Holy moly. USDD to Tether. Oh, that's what's Tether doing. USD.
Oh, I gotta switch the screens again. I gotta get my stream deck back. This is a pain in the ass not using that. I don't know how I ever did this before for that.
US. Oh shoot. That shot up. US tether to USDT.
That seems to be a bad print there. I mean, unless that's a thousandth of a cent or something.
Oh yeah, it's 3 cents. Yeah. Looks like it's real. I mean, with the upheaval today, with everything that's going on in Bitcoin, because here's the thing: how many people are buying? That's what I was trying to say, and that's what I was just thinking. If you have all these people buying Tether, right, to then buy Bitcoin, they've got to transition. One way to do it, right, and the only way to do it is buy Tether to buy Bitcoin.
Right.
So all of a sudden, this is actually, I just realized, I was like, oh snap, I never sat there and looked at the charts to sit there and gauge the amount of, I mean, you know, I'm going to put together something else because that's just.
All right, ladies and germs, we're 2 hours into the show today. I want to once again take a quick social media break and thank everyone on YouTube for watching. Today we're broadcasting on YouTube. We've had upwards of behind the scenes. It tells us we've had 30 viewers, unique viewers, which is very nice. We'd like to have about 70 to 100 per show. That would be awesome. So help us get the word out by sharing that. Share it in your social media. We tweet. Please retweet our stuff. Also in LinkedIn, we've had a number of viewers on LinkedIn. To those of you watching right now, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Join the fray here by putting some comments. The LinkedIn comment machine doesn't work that well for us to see it timely. So if you want to, jump over to the YouTube stream, and that works very well. And to thank everybody that watched on Kick today. On Kick, we had we currently still have 2 viewers there, and we've had another 2 on Twitch. So we're getting the word out. And as I like to say, if you're on one of these other other forums, and we don't seem to be interacting with you, come on over to YouTube. Help us drive the algorithm in one place. At one place to also kick the conversation off. If you haven't, to summarize what we talked about in the first part of the show, is we talked about the history of Bitcoin quickly, and just some interesting comments about how at the beginning of Bitcoin, the people really predicted, specifically Hal Finney and crew, kind of the number 2 guy in the history of Bitcoin. Talked about exactly what's going on today in Bitcoin and how it could possibly be a reserve currency, and banks would issue their own coins, but ultimately Bitcoin would not be scalable enough in order to drive and handle all the financial transactions. It wasn't designed to do that. But with other stable coins, other digital coins, layer 2s, all this type of stuff, Bitcoin can be the backbone of the whole thing. And they predicted it in 2010. That's kind of what's going on right now. And if those knuckleheads at the BRICS groups have their way, and that might even happen for them as well. And then we got into talking about a bunch of different topics of the day: tokens, coins, where things are going, some market analysis, that type of stuff that Pedro's really good at, is reading the tea leaves and telling us what's going on in the markets. And then this part of the show, we've been talking about we want to boost the community engagement. We're going to do that by investing $25,000 of striking in Pedro's money, which is just fake money, but we'll just call it our money, and see how the community, along with our input, along with the community's input, fares. Are we a bunch of wizards here on this channel, and we've got our own secret little thing going, or are we just a bunch of chumbalones that are going to turn $25,000 into $8,000?
Absolutely.
And it's a good test of it, but I think it'll be a good community engagement thing. So we'll be tweeting about that. We'll be talking about that. And so look, we're already I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but we're already $53 in profits. Woo!
Crypto. There we go. I almost wanted. So, what are the top? I'm curious 'cause I want to start paying attention because I just thought of a new idea that I've never thought about, and paying attention to the stable coins and what's actually coming in and out on a daily basis could give you an indication of where money is coming or going. And so it's something that I never put two and two together, and I just was like, you know what? That's actually really US. How many stable coins are there? There's USDT, USDC.
Oh, there's
What
there's
else?
got to be 1,000 of them
What's
now.
Binance's?
The BUSD
Right, well, I
one
wanted
that
to
they've
pick the
limited
top
out.
ones that everybody uses. Yeah. You, what is it? SD, USB?
Let's see. BUSD. You remember BUSD? It was really popular
Yeah, that's
until
what it was.
the,
That's what
the
it
state of New York said it's
was.
illegal, and you're like, wait, no. There's Tether, DAI, USD Coin, TUSD. I think this list is old. This list is old. Let me find a new list.
Yeah,
It's probably it's probably just a category on CoinMarketCap. It's probably pretty easy.
I'm actually looking for CoinMarketCap, and I can't find it. So I was like, and you know what? It'd actually be smart with all the stuff that's actually going on. It'd be smart for them not to have that on there because, well, who wants Warren to come at them? So,
All right, I've got it up. I've got it up on my screen here. A mostly current list. In fact, it's live. It's a live list. Tether. Here, I'll drop the link in.
Where'd you find that at?
Just Google.
There you go. Yeah. Tether, USD, DAI. There we go. Yeah. All right. I want to start paying attention to the top 4. So
I don't know what USDD is. That's a. They quickly like
that's-
Tether's 80
that's
billion.
wrong.
The next number 2 USD coin is 8 or 9 billion.
Dude, Tether's 92 bill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at 24-hour volume. Yeah. Tether is 92 billion. USD is 25 billion. DAI 5.3 billion. Binance BUSD is down to 1 billion after people have been phasing that out. There's Tether Gold, Pax Dollar.
What is TUSD? Who are they?
TUSD, I think, if someone correct me if I'm wrong, was started after New York ruled that BUSD was illegal. Binance started a new one in Singapore or Hong Kong called TUSD. I think that's what it is.
There we go. All right.
Actually, so, probably iTunes community claim. TrueUSD launches Tron-based offshore unit. Let's see. Is a US-backed stablecoin exchange? It's illegal. Blah blah blah. There's no history on it, so I may be right on that. I may not be right on that.
Oh, this is. I never even thought about paying attention to those to see inflow and outflow. I've always just looked at, and that's actually really important. It's almost like being able to see that, like we can see if we see a bunch of stuff coming in, it's right there in front of your face. And then, so I'm gonna do TRUSD.
Why can't I make this ad go away? Come on, ad, go away. No, hit the no thanks button.
It's called Threshold.
Threshold. I don't know
Is
what
that
Threshold.
the name of it? Nope, that's not it. Boom. TUSD. USD.
It's called TrueUSD.
There you go. Kraken TUSD. Boom. And then we'll go USDD, which is Tron's system.
USDD is Tron. Anybody listening use any other crypto stable coins besides the top ones here? Anyone use anything other than Tether or USDC? I mean, I know a bunch of us that were on the BNB chain for a while used BUSD for a while, and you kind of can still on BNB. But let us know if you use what you use and if you use something else.
Forgive me. I've got 1 million people hitting me up right now. That's just nuts. There's a lot going on. Okay. So, yeah, I think this is really important to be able to just paying attention to it. It's just as a quick glance, like what got me into it, boom, see what's up. Do we have any spikes in volume in it? Yeah, there we go.
Interestingly, PayPal is their USD coin, stable coin, is at number 10 already. In the past 24 hours, this is how quickly they go down from the top, is only $15 million. And I bet you that's a lot of kind of internal type stuff too, in which they're converting accounts and stuff like that. Pitmonk says he uses USDT and DC.
Yeah, most people, yeah.
Because you can get all those, like all the top ones you can get on every chain, so you don't have to pay the Ethereum fees and things like that. And so definitely works.
So it's just really interesting to see, so you can see that there's definitely been some upheaval. Like we've stayed stable right here between 0.009 to about, 0.9901, right? So anything when it starts to disable or when it starts to pull away from 99, anything below 99, where it's 0.998, you're depegging, you're starting to depeg, right? So you want to pay attention to that. If it goes below that 98 to 97, you need to pay attention, right? So you can see here we've been playing between where we tap in and we shoot up, we tap and shoot up. But you can see here in the last few days, right? You can see people are buying a bunch of DAI. Here, USDC, a ton. I mean, it shot up to 104. So you see huge increase in volume right here. It shot up to 103 on USDT. With True, it actually has been, it's been shooting up. So there's definitely inflow of cash coming in. Definitely. And then you have Tron. Oh, Tron.
Yeah, this website I'm at, Crypto Slate, is pretty interesting. I don't think I've used it before past just what's on the news area of it, but they have this listing the link that I put out to everybody links to their crypto thing, but the menu on the right or on the left, it has, you can click any sort of subgroup you want of sexes, computing related, like internet computer, render token, multiverse X, Mina, DeFi tokens, Avalanche or DeFi mainnet tokens, Avalanche, Chainlink, DAI, Uniswap, things that are deflationary. It starts right off with Pepe, Baby Doge, richquack.com, richquack, ARB Doge, DEXs, derivatives, injective, synthetics, FTX token, GMX, Gains Network, Ribbon Finance. Ooh, I remember Ribbon got hacked recently. All right, a list of Euro stable coins. Stasis, Euro, a market cap of 135 million, based on the euro. Euro coin, only 57 million. This is interesting. Ooh, all of the projects that are file sharing, Filecoin, Hedera, BitTorrent, Siacoin, Holo, they're down 13% today, 11% today. This is an interesting website. I'm going to save it.
Yeah, I love it. I love going, when I have this idea, view STD, I always think it's almost like God kind of winking at me going, hey, follow this lead, follow this trail, right? So it's you're ooh, this is another tool in my toolbox, my tool belt.
Right. And you forget about the other ones that you're doing too, right?
I definitely don't. USDT. I actually keep it all because I write them down, right? And I have a scale of things that I go through. I go through the same thing every morning.
Right.
That's
All
right.
right, Pedro. I'm
Second.
gonna do the. I've had too much tea. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Yeah, you can see here. It's really interesting. Like, yeah, that people besides Tron, which is now coming back to Peg. Let me make that $1 here. $1. We'll make that red so that we can definitely see it. Besides Tron, which is looks like they are messing with it. Whoever is like when they brought it all the way down to 94 cents. Ooh, 95 cents. That's a sell off and a half. This one comes in. This one down in November came all the way down to 88 cents. There's a lot of shorters on this one, but you can see you're definitely having smaller volume here versus the other ones. The other ones are definitely I mean, look at USD or the US Binance's new coin. Boom, right there. Volume down here is actually low here, but you can see people are trying to buy, so that's really interesting. And then this one here, you can definitely see volume coming in. So somebody bought it and then sold off to bring it back down. And then this one right here, definitely the next day, wow, it's the same amount of volume. So it looks like they had equal amount of buyers and sellers coming in on this day here, where even though you had the same amount of volume on the previous day that shot it up, there definitely is. So this almost seems like a novice issue, right? Where like some bank was like, all right, we need to use this they figured out how to use USDC. And then they're like, oh shoot, we're having it. So they were like, all right, we need to be able to buy and short at the same time here. And so we can actually acquire more than what we need, or acquire more so that they can actually buy the actual crypto that they need. And then when you look at the USDT, boom. Oh, look, see, in there you have a ton of volume. So that's really where the volume is coming in as is the USDT, because that's a lot of volume. And at the same time, you can see this was a real shoot up, this was, yeah, they came in and they just said, all right, we want it. We want enough. So was this people shorting on this market or not? This is really interesting. But you can see here, I mean, this skyrocketed. And when I say this, I'm looking at, this is the ATR, average true range of the market. So look how heavy this is. That was boom. That's crazy. It's a lot of volume too. That's not even the end of the day.
No. All right, Pedro. What else we got on the docket for today? Like I was telling everybody earlier, it's Bitcoin's birthday, and I would like to have some nice graphics and all that celebrating that, but I didn't get around to that. And now I'm eating my lunch here. But why don't we give everyone a brief update on since we started this show, what the market's been doing? Have we been recovering from the lambasting?
No, actually, we're kind of holding steady. So we're kind of basing right now at these lower levels. That's why I think we're going to see another sell-off. We sold off, coming down, and we're kind of just putting another position. I think we're going to be coming down to, like I said, like that 38,037 area, and potentially down to that 30. Because the way they sold it off, you can see there was a ton of sell pressure when we're coming down into the bottom. So the majority of these sellers are down at these levels here. So what they'll do is they'll allow it to go up, right? The novices to buy it back up, and then what they'll do is they'll come through and they're establishing their short positions and or their other positions, and it looks like they're going to sell it off again. Let's check out what's actually going on here with the institutional side here. I do not know what happened here, so I'm gonna have to figure this out real quick. There we are. Is this it right here? No. So let me go ahead then and just do this here real quick. So this is, what is that? 5 minutes. So I'll make this one the daily. Give me 1 second here. And this is the Z contract. Come on. There we are. I wanted to do, you see a little bit of my charting here real quick. This is the actual internal workings of the buyers and sellers at the actual area. So we're going to use this as quickly. 1440, boom, daily chart.
Pitmonkey comments, or I'm sorry, yeah, Pitmonk comments. I heard some say that USDC will rule going forward as they play by the government's requirements more. I would say that's yes. They're more of a, well, they're a U.S. based company, or they're. Wait, I'm not certain they're a U.S. based company, but they're in essentially a U.S. organization with U.S. employees, U.S. CEO, that type of stuff. I don't know where they're actually domiciled. And Tether is what are they based in Hong Kong?
I do not know.
Anyway, that's the difference in there is that USDC is more of an actual legal entity that the United States jurisdiction can get its handle on, and they have
taxes.
And they have a working relationship with the very good working relationship with the U.S. government because they were founded by Coinbase and I think Crypto Mike's at Genesis group or whatever the history is. There's a local U.S. law based history, but that being said, the market does what it wants, and right now the market is using Tether. And Tether, I mean, to face it, Tether's one of the big monsters on Uniswap. So
you can see right here that they are definitely going in and putting in. Come on, give me. Here we are.
Yeah, I gotta take this phone call. 1 second.
All right, cool. Give me 1 second. Boom. 144.0. So this is, you can see here that they definitely bounced off that 50 period moving average, and we did see a lot of sell pressure come in. So I'm looking at this right now, and I can see, like, let me go into the details here of what the institutions are fully doing. So these little areas, and I'll broaden this out here for you guys so you can sit there and see this. So this is the futures. So this gives them access to actually what's going on in the market. So you can sit here and see that these are buy areas that they're establishing big orders or small orders, right? Right now, some of these orders are, like 85, 75, 105 contracts. Each contract that moves at, so every point it moves at $5. Right. So when you're talking, when the average movement in a daily Bitcoin right now is 1,400 points. So we're talking 1,400 times 5 is what they, for each contract, for each Bitcoin. Right. So they really, they have a multiplication of 5x, whatever they play with. So, it's a big deal. And so right now they did sell it off, and there was a lot of buying and selling equal, but you can see the amount of selling at this level here, which is the 42,780 level here, is where they really came in and put in some big orders to sell it off. And then it looks like as it was, and you had an equal amount of buyers as we were coming in. So this big sell-off on this candle is a pretty substantial. And let me go ahead and you guys are probably having a hard time seeing that, so give me 1 second. Studies. Where are you at? Number of bars? No. Market depth, historical gram. And let's just put that to, give me 1 second, guys, so I can drop this off. High quality. Nope. Intended. Highest, where is it at? Well, we're gonna do 100. Oh, I was wrong. Highest quality. No, it's quality for coloring. Number of. Why am I having a hard time here? Give me 1 second. Whatever reason, my mind is forgetting this. So I need to go here. Studies. Lowest quality for coloring. Okay, that's what it was. Boom. Sorry for the well, it's lowest quality for coloring.
Sorry for shoving my mouth full of pasta on the area, but I couldn't take it anymore without eating.
Minimum lowest quality for coloring. Boom. We'll say 100. Apply. What we want to do.
What is it you're looking up there? I got lost here.
What this is the actual institutional side of like banking for the futures for the CME. This is what the institutionals use.
Oh, I got you.
300. Yeah, so I want to sit there and see when I see a big order come in, or if a big order is in the queue, right? And they're looking, they're looking. And for what that means is if you're trading, right, you have access to certain aspects of where market. And so this is layer 2, layer 3 order fills, right? And so I'm looking for actual orders fills and order fills that are potential. Now, many times, even though they're not supposed to do this, and they've gotten in trouble with hundreds of millions of dollars, but they make billions of dollars every year. It's called spoofing. What that means is they go through, they'll put their, say, like down here, they have 1,000 contracts, right? And then they'll, as soon as the price get to it, they take it off. And then all of a sudden they flip it around and, right, and then shoot it up. Or like as it's going up, they'll put in a bunch of buy orders here thinking they're going to push it through. And so all these people think, oh, once it hits this level, it's going to break out, right? And what they're doing is they're getting all these people to buy in, and then they just spoof it. And it disappears, and then all of a sudden the market just turns around and they get screwed over. It's illegal to do, even though institutions still do it because they make billions of dollars off of it. And then every few years, a group of people go to jail, and then when they come out, they have the golden handcuffs, basically. Like the firm say, "Hey, thank you for doing your time," almost like the mafia. You're now a made man.
Right.
Like,
you kept your mouth really shut in the joint. Now you got we're gonna punch your golden ticket now.
Yeah, it really is. It sounds horrible, but it's literally it's like the mob, and their family's set, they're set. It's crazy. There's this one point in the movie with Billions on I think Billions is on Max Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah. And there's this one point when Axe, one of his guys, just flies off the handles and is shooting up the backyard because they're under major stress and he needs relief, right? So the guy literally shoots off. And in New York, you can't have any like guns anywhere. Like you're not allowed. Well, you can have guns, but you can't have them in the gun. There's a lot of stipulations. Well, shooting in the backyard of some millionaire, right, trader, so they're gonna send this guy up the road here.
That's actually based on a true story. That scene in Billions.
Oh, really?
It's based off a scene, or it's based off a true story. As a famous trader from a guy from New Jersey. His name's John Mullerin. And he famously went out in his yard one day with an AK and just started cooking things off. And it was in this, the basic idea is that the stress of the markets. And he was a very high-level trader and investor. And just went crazy for a little bit. Got his act together. Police came over in this certain part of New Jersey. Everyone's kind of friends, and they're like, "No, you can't be doing that." And I have a close connection to this. This is why I know this. And he got his act together, and then went on to make many hundreds of more millions of dollars. So.
Really? So that's a legit story.
Oh yeah.
I love that, dude. That's actually really dope. 120, 150.
I just put up a text or a thing from this guy Dennis Porter's writing a bit of news in the state of Missouri. They're passing a law, or introduced into the House in Missouri, that protects your rights to self-custody, mine, and access Bitcoin, and that obviously if the federal government passes a law saying you can't do that. That's one thing, but the state of Missouri is starting the states' rights push to ensure that we can keep keep our own money in our own wallet. Yeah, like cash. That can only be a good thing. As we know, the SEC can come out and make a rule, or the CFTC can make a rule, and states' rights and rules. There's lots of gray areas about things, because what happens is Congress always passes a law saying the SEC or the agency X can make the rules in order to regulate this market, and then so basically what happens is any rule that an agency makes trumps state law. But the federal government had a little setback in that tactic, in which it was 2 years ago, the EPA had a Supreme Court decision handed down against them, saying the EPA does not have the authority to make these new rules because Congress didn't give them that authority. Congress said, you can do this, and this is the idea of what they're allowed to do, and the EPA was doing this, making rules like this. And they said, no, you got to stay within your congressional mandate, not just make any rule you want. And that was a big change. And so now when the states pass these laws, when the government puts a new regulation, but the state says, no, we're not going to obey that, they have to go to court now to settle that. And the judge has to say, nope, the federal government, you SEC, whomever, you're outside your mandate. And there's a lot of those cases kind of going up the chain right now, in that the federal government, the SEC is trying to get everything called a security because they have the right to regulate securities. But there's a lot of cases coming up saying, as we know from XRP and otherwise, saying, no, it's not the state of Missouri doesn't define that as a security, and you've overstepped your bounds. Congress didn't give you that authority. So to see the states pushing back is a good thing. And it's like Florida banning the use of government central bank digital coins. Central bank digital coins. Sorry, I'm short on food.
I think it's really interesting to see what's actually happening with Florida case, because that in itself, man, is definitely giving leeway of almost putting the federal government back in check. In a sense, it's like you're stepping over your boundary of what you were originally. And this is where, like, we as the people here in America, and I know we got people from, all over the world. UK. We have some people from Australia, other people from Africa.
Yep.
I'd love to see if we can get people from even the Middle East, like somebody.
Yeah, occasionally we have a guy from Dubai on. I can't remember his name, but he pops on now and then.
But it's really interesting. Give me 1 second. That here in the States, like it's really important us to a lot of Americans, where it's like, we're born free, we're gonna die free, to the best of our ability. Like I know many people would be like, I got a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other, and I ain't letting go of either of them, right? So freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom to bear arms is one of it is ingrained to you as a child. Like, this is who we are, this is what's going on.
Except here in Canada, where I am now, where you don't really have any rights of any kind.
That's so crazy.
Except what you have the rights that are guaranteed are the right to be woke. The government can take away almost all your other rights just because they say they can, because they have this thing called a notwithstanding clause in the Constitution, meaning it's the last phrase in their Constitution. Notwithstanding everything we said before, we can do whatever we want. Literally, they can invoke that. But there's no rights here. Like Trudeau said, we're not going to have handguns anymore. So just by his writing a memo, it outlawed handguns. Just like that. Whoop, goodbye. Can't buy them anymore. And if you have one, you won't be able to transfer it, sell it, whatever. Give it to your son. Nope, can't do that.
I don't even understand that.
That's a straight dictatorship. It's unbelievable.
Like, see, this is why. Well, here's my question. All right, so let's say I'm an American and I'm in that area, right? Obviously, I have to follow their statutes and laws, right?
Right.
So if I go into Canada, I have a gun, not thinking, not realizing it, right? Because I
right
can
to
bear
jail.
arms. Right to jail.
And then when you go back to the U.S., you get your rights taken away. You won't be allowed to own a handgun or a gun in the U.S. anymore because you broke another country's law. How about that?
So basically, it keeps you in America.
Right. Well, it's the same. It's the same thing in. It's the same thing for people in Indiana. In Indiana, you don't need any permits or licenses to carry a handgun. You can just put it in your pocket. You don't need to go. You don't need to do anything. Just if you're over the age of 21 or over, you have a clean record, you can do it. If you have a felony, no, there's all those other issues. But as long as you're legally allowed to own a firearm, you're allowed to carry it anywhere. And what happens is people are carrying their firearms and they come to Chicago. In Illinois, it's not. We don't have that rule. You have all sorts of unlawful use of firearms laws. And what happens is people get arrested here, and it's either a felony here in Illinois or it's a misdemeanor with a 1 year in jail punishment. And both of those types of things are thus federally you are now unable to own a firearm. So something you're allowed to do in Indiana without any license at all. It's encouraged by the state. They want you to take training. They want you to carry a firearm. They want you to help make the state safe. You cross the line into Illinois, get caught. When you go back to Indiana, you now are no longer to own a firearm because you're a felon or you broke the law in another state. So you can't even do it in your home state anymore, even though you broke another jurisdiction's law, but you're still legal in yours. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. You know what doesn't make any sense to me, Pedro, is why we've been on the air for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I don't know. Normally you're the one who calls the shots. So,
I know. Today I had a lot of time to do it, and we had a lot to talk about. And I also wanted to test the waters to see how people would join us later in the day. But we got to start wrapping this up. So let's get any last minute feedback from the audience here. If there's any other topics you want to talk about or things like that. And Pedro, hit any other projects up that you might want to talk about here.
Yeah. What would you guys like for me to look at? Let me know. I'll check them out here for y'all.
I'm just checking up some quick headlines here really quick. I had set a couple aside to go over. Yeah, hold on one second.
Yeah, so I saw the market rallying up here. I was going to take the short here. So it's a 30-minute switch over. So typically the market, first thing we'll do, right, shoot up before it goes down. And so you can sit there and see on the 5-minute, on this 30-minute shot up to go down. So I do expect it to kind of now start to rally down into the next hour. So let's check out this minute here real quick. A 60-minute, you can see here that we shot down to go up. And we're playing off of that 8-period moving average. We did shoot above, so let's check out that one. So really, it's just kind of basing right here at these levels here between the Bitcoin is sitting between 43,000 here to about, let's say that 42,000, 43,000 last few hours. I do see seller wicks step in, and right now we're just kind of basing, putting in these buyer wicks, but these buyer wicks aren't necessarily strong buyer wicks. So to me, you had a sell-off that couldn't continue green. This one did turn green, but it's more of a dead cat bounce. And then this right here, again, you have a sell-off, and then again right here, it didn't turn green. So if this 2-hour mark here doesn't turn green for me, I'm definitely more bearish, and I expect to see this continue down into these lower levels with Bitcoin here. And for Bitcoin on the CME system here, the next part is really to come down to the gap area, which is that 39,000 area. And then after that, we're looking at 36, 35 below here. So that's it in a nutshell when it comes to the CME Bitcoins here. Like it.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to take a call. Oh, the dog's in the camera again here. Hey, doggy. How often have you heard anyone use this phrase? Sorry, I have to take a call from my upholsterer.
I have never heard that. You're the first. So
we have this chair that usually sits over here that's getting kind of old, and the seat got ripped, and so I had to find an upholsterer to recover it. And when you get their attention, you got to take their call. Otherwise, you might never get them again. There's not a lot of them anymore, and
the ones that are in demand.
Yeah, they gotta. I mean, like, think of every restaurant. First of all, they're people that know how to sew. and that's not a trade that's
you're right.
well taught anymore. And I used to hire upholsterers for my old job in the custom vehicle industry, and so I understand the industry and know where to find these guys. But every during seasons when boat season starts, everyone stored their boat all winter, and then when they get it out, the cover is ripped. So someone's got to fix that. And every restaurant you go into that's got vinyl seating, some kid stands on the seat and rips it. They got to call the upholsterer. So it's and those are high paying jobs. Mine's not. Mine's I need this done cheap.
You know what? I think I might think about getting into upholstering or whatever.
Yeah, it works out to be about minimum wage though, unless you're a high end guy.
I got it.
It's just because people don't want to pay. It's not because your time isn't worth it or that it's easy, so it's cheap. It's people, you say, oh, it's going to take me 8 hours to do that, so it's going to cost you $1,000. And people are like, fuck it, I'll just buy a new piece of furniture, right? That's the problem with it. Anything that's expensive, it gets to the point where you just buy something new.
Definitely. Hey, all right, well, I gave some stuff. I need to take this call real quick. I will be back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the comment section here. Oh my God, we've got comments. Chuck says, I survived the whole show. Woohoo! Chuck, I can only say thank you. And thank you for helping whip up the Telegram room for... let's see, where's that button there? There, this button. Whipping up the Telegram room. Getting people to watch the show and getting the word out. I'm glad you're, whatever you changed in your role at work or in your tech setup or whatever allows you to have the show on all day. It's been very good. Thank you very much. Pit Monk says, the show has been a great listen and very informative. Speaking of listening, a couple of times I've messed with having it on Twitter Spaces. Just having the audio kick out to it to get more people to do it. I'll probably start doing that again. Periodically, I'll have the DYOR Media Telegram room, otherwise known as Striking Balls' Crypto Smackdown room, or the Space Lounge open so you could ask questions on voice. But I've had some tech problems because I need a better computer. Let's see. And so... this portfolio needs some final touches. No, there we go. Oh, we're up $100 now. I don't know if you can see that. We're making fat bank already. Cash it in. Let's take it out. Buy some beer. Spaces are a good tool to use. There's a lot of crypto followers in there. I agree. And what Pedro and I tend to not do is we don't do a show that leads towards audio only. You can listen to us. But, we got a lot going on the screen, charts and comments and all that type of stuff. But as I always do, I change things up and I'll try things again. Chuck says, I need to buy a home computer setup. Who is your computer gurus? You know what? I use in Chicago and a couple of places in the Midwest, there's a group called Micro Center. And they build computers for you. And any place will build a custom one, but Micro Center will build computers with their house parts. They're like Costco. They have their house brand, Kirkland parts, and Micro Center uses a brand called Inland that's their own parts. And they've built my last couple of computers. And I never spend just they always, when you buy electronics, you have your budget. You're like, that's what I want, and what you really want is 50% more. Or just more than you can afford. It's more than you can rationalize to afford. And you're like, oh, I'll stretch it and buy that. So I never buy the exact right computer. What I need, my new computer needs to be the i9 14th generation with the 4090 NVIDIA card in it, which those are currently $1,500 each, just the cards. Pitmonk says, I like seeing the charts as you talk about it. Pitmonk, what kind of setup do you have? You're sitting there. Do you just have it on the on a second monitor while you're doing something else? You know, how do you watch us? Let us know. That's a gaming rig. yes, that's a gaming rig. Yeah, and for the studio stuff I don't just use StreamYard or something like that. I get really complicated here. I have all this stuff going on, and I'm trying to get more complicated. Especially as we start, I like to automate some things. I like to have more stuff going on the screen. I like to be able to give the sponsors a better thing. Like recently, I don't know if you noticed, but down the corner down there, it now flips for what different platforms we're broadcasting on. Yes, second PC whilst following the charts with you. Proper British term there, whilst. Are you in the north or the south? Or on the second monitor, yeah. Are you in the north or south of the UK? I am most familiar with the south, meaning London, and to the west out to Bristol and Cardiff and things like that. That's where I've spent most of my time in the UK. And I love it there. I'd like to go back and spend more. I used to go there for work all the time. At trade shows, couple trade shows a year. Ended up with a couple of buddies over there. You're in London. I love London. Love it. Love it. I used to do a lot of trade shows over at obviously at the Excel Center and over at Olympia, just in Kensington. Hertfordshire, a nice area to live. And I spent a lot of time with my buddy down in Sutton, just down in Surrey, just by Carshalton and Cheam. Cheam's a great little town. Let me tell you about that. The drinking that goes on there, let's see.
It's ridiculous.
There's nothing else to go on there. Just watch football, drink, and
have a good old time.
Let's see, where's Hertfordshire?
All right, my friend. We're going on almost 2+ hours, so we do need to get going. Regular life is calling me. Everybody's hitting me up. Where are you at? I'm like, I'm streaming. Leave me alone. and now it's like, dude, where are you? And I'm like, all right, I love this. The thing is, this is so fun for me. It's like I
like it too.
Numbers. Yeah, it's just hopefully one day we can sit there and I can be like, I can tell the other thing, even though I'm giving up like 400, quite a bit of money, I don't need that amount of money to live, and then just build this thing and watch it like explode, right? Like where you could do this full time, and all of a sudden we've got, I was watching. There's a crypto guy I saw on his live. He had over 600 people, 1,000 people live, man.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. And most of them that are really popular, got to jump on us, like started in the last bull run, and so as the people came back to them as the market started changing, and they make price calls too, and they call out and they say it's going to hit here, it's going to dump here, and do all that, like Crypto Lifer, Sam does that, and a lot of people, a lot of the day traders, from what those guys have told me, a lot of the day traders watch them because they use them as a different opinion on what they think. They're like, oh, well, I think it's going to dump at 44, but he thinks it's going to dump at 48. And so they get a lot of those guys.
I'll start doing that. I'm going to palm. As long as I don't get in trouble.
Right. I mean, you're not getting in trouble, using your opinion on what markets are going to do. That's for sure.
Yeah, like here, like I was saying, I'm expecting this huge sell-off, right, or this huge push-up on the 30-minute. I expect to see a sell-off to come back down to the 20 or 42.5 area on the CME. So where would that be on? And you can already see that the sellers are stepping in. So give me 1 second. I gotta get out of here.
All right.
1 second.
I gotta too. Thanks to everyone that watched the whole show. We did an unusual one. We had 27 people watch us on YouTube. Actually, I think it's a little more than that. I think. Hold on, let me click it. 37 views in total. At the highest point, we had 6 people watching us at once, and only 9 likes. So we got to get more people liking us. On the other platforms, we had quite a bit of viewers. I had intended to broadcast this on Twitter also, but I forgot to hit that go live button on Twitter. It's just one more button to add. Didn't work.
Do we have the checklist? Do you have like a checkoff list?
Oh yeah, and it's got scratches on it. It's new. It's gonna add this, add that. It's
Oh no, dude! You just for my check off list is literally what I do. I use Google Tasks, and I literally go boom, 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 and every day it repopulates it.
yeah.
So as soon as you click on it, it then disappears.
Yeah, I do. I did that with Basecamp for a long time. Used Basecamp to do that,
Yep.
and that was good. But I keep changing my setup so much. I have to keep writing new checklists, and then I moved to Ottawa or to Chicago, and I have a slightly different setup, so the checklist is different. Then all of a sudden, I have 3 checklists. I modify one, forget to modify the other, and I'm like,
Got it.
I'm trying.
Got it. All right, brother. Well, we'll see. Maybe tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Maybe Thursday. Friday, I'm booked Friday, so I can't be there
All
Friday.
right, we'll do a show tomorrow, and maybe I'll come up with something to record for Friday. Anyway, we do have some guests coming up. I've got beginning of the year tax catch up with our sponsor Patrick Camuso coming up on the 11th. Also, I've got the kind of the COO and co-founder of a group called Craze, Crays. The founder of WeWork. I can't remember his name, but very famous, raised billions of dollars. WeWork went up a bazillion %. Everyone was billionaires, and then it crashed, and everyone was not billionaires again. They've come up with a new concept of, instead of having WeWork places, but buying apartment buildings, since everyone's remote work now, buying apartment buildings and make them into high, basically work from home places, but with a big social atmosphere in which and I'm not just doing this at no interest because they buy apartment buildings, but it has a DAO and digital currency, digital economy right to own kind of bent to it. So I'm going to have their CEO on. We're trying to set up the time for it, probably within sometime in the next 2 weeks. Should be very interesting to hear about a new way crypto is going to be used in the digital economy for paying your rent, for becoming an owner, or even manage your building through a DAO. Very interesting. So that's coming up, and we'll obviously trying to get other guests on periodically, so Pedro and I don't have to do all the talking.
I don't mind it. I mean, people are cool. Wow, but still, 25 views, man. That's actually really good. We've had a really good, nice little.
Well,
setup.
it's the YouTube ones. Like you can. Right now we're at about 37 behind the scenes, which it'll catch up as YouTube. They're always 2 days in arrears on the actual. It drives me crazy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today.
Definitely.
Thanks everybody for coming by.
Definitely.
Thanks for everything today. Any last comments there? Nope. Same bad crypto makes the same bad time. Yes, Pit Monk. Happy New Year. Pit Monk, thanks for the show, guys. Thanks everybody. Anyway, for Pedro and I, once again, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, on behalf of Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, and me. Thanks for tuning in to an episode of DYOR Live. We'll see you tomorrow. Be there.